Chapter 1165, Sacred Killing Token. Rumble. The torrential rain poured down as City Lord Lu and the Bright Moon Army General floated in front of the city wall. Around them, the city guards widened their eyes in shock as they watched this scene. Below them, the tens of thousands of people who had rushed over after hearing the news were filled with fear. It was really the prince. It was really the third prince. The dragon Spike actually dared to assassinate the prince. This caused the people who still had a trace of uncertainty in their hearts to stare blankly. The Dragon Spike Assassin Organization, you all deserve to die 10,000 deaths. City Lord Lu looked at the third prince's corpse in a daze. Looking at the words on the red paper beside him, his eyes turned red. No matter what, he would have thought that the Dragon Spike would actually dare to be so arrogant and crazy. Assassinating a prince of a country, this sort of thing was too crazy. He hadn't thought of it at all. Picking up the third prince's corpse, City Lord Lu's ghastly voice resounded throughout Bright Moon City. Assassinating a prince of a country was no longer a slap to the face of the City Lord's estate, but an enemy of Star Moon Kingdom. From today onwards, Bright Moon City will implement a curfew. After tonight, no one is allowed to leave the city. No one is allowed to come out. The Bright Moon Army General's expression was extremely ugly. The third prince had died in their Bright Moon City. As the two people in charge of Bright Moon City, they had to bear some responsibility. At the very least, they had to destroy this dragon Spike to make up for their mistake. Go! City Lord Lu's face was gloomy as he carried the third prince's corpse. The red paper beside him was immediately taken back. His body moved, and he flew towards the City Lord's mansion. The Bright Moon Army General nodded solemnly and followed closely behind. They wanted to report this matter to the king. Whoosh! My God! The Dragon Spike isn't just going to make an enemy out of Undercurrent. It's going to make an enemy out of the entire Star Moon Kingdom. What benefits does the Dragon Spike have in doing this? Don't tell me they want to go head-to-head with the royal family of our country? The red piece of paper from the Dragon Spike says that Undercurrent and the City Lord's mansion are working together to deal with them. That's why they're making such a crazy move. Undercurrent and the City Lord's mansion are working together? Is this possible? Since the Dragon Spike has said it, then it's very possible. After City Lord Lu and the Bright Moon Army General left, the East Gate instantly erupted into an uproar. Everyone stood in the heavy rain and sighed slightly. Some of them had contemplative expressions on their faces. What Dragon Spike said about the Undercurrent joining forces with the City Lord's residence might be true. Otherwise, Dragon Spike wouldn't have done such an extreme action. Assassinating the third prince, he would have to bear the revenge of the entire Star Moon Kingdom. No matter what, Dragon Spike is really too crazy. An old man slowly sighed. The master of Undercurrent was crazy. But the Dragon Spike was crazy. After today, no matter what happens to the Dragon Spike, it will definitely leave a mark in the history of Star Moon Kingdom. As some people spoke, they began to return. It was too shocking. The news of the Dragon Spike assassinating the third prince spread throughout the entire Bright Moon City in less than 10 minutes. Everyone's heart skipped a beat as they waited for the City Lord's mansion and Star Moon Kingdom's reaction. This matter had blown up so much that it was going to alarm the royal family of Star Moon Kingdom. Even the king had to come personally. After all, the third prince was the king's son. The atmosphere in the entire Bright Moon City had undergone a huge change. On the streets, the city guards weren't the only ones patrolling. There were also soldiers from the Bright Moon Army. The entire Bright Moon City was filled with a murderous aura. Wuxia watched this scene with a smile on his face. He followed the flow of people and walked towards the restaurant. The most dangerous time is also the safest time. The people from Ao Yao's sect have completed all the tasks they received yesterday. Wuxia returned to the restaurant and said to Ao Yao with a smile on his face. It's the Dragon King. Ao Yao nodded and disappeared immediately. At Star Moon King City, in the huge palace. Your Majesty, you must avenge San Air. That assassin organization actually dared to kill San Air. You must avenge San Air. San Air is so miserable. In the Star Moon King Palace, a graceful and elegant woman was kneeling in front of a middle-aged man. Her eyes were red and swollen as she cried. The middle-aged man was dressed in a dragon robe as he sat on the dragon throne. At this moment, the Star Moon King's expression was extremely gloomy. Even though he had over 100 children under him, his third son was one of the more outstanding children. Now he was actually assassinated by an assassin organization. This was simply a great humiliation to the Star Moon Kingdom. To a king like him, this was a blatant slap in the face. My beloved concubine, don't worry. I will repay third son's life to him. That assassin organization. I will make sure that not even a chicken or dog is left alive. Star Moon King's eyes revealed a cold glint, and a faint chill gushed out from his surroundings. Xian Xingguang Hun, Gu Dongfeng, Ling Tiankai, and Xiao Wei, the four beloved ministers, present themselves. As he spoke, he held a writing brush and danced in the imperial edict. One by one, sharp words with a strong killing intent condensed on the imperial edict. The last word, killing intent, soared to the sky. Ordinary people holding the imperial edict were even directly killed by the killing intent on the imperial edict. It's the king. The eunuch at the side hurriedly responded and quickly walked out. In less than 10 minutes, 4 terrifying figures quickly rushed toward the palace. 4 generals, 4 insightful emptiness realm experts. There were only 7 insightful emptiness realm experts in the imperial city, and 4 of them had already been dispatched. Receive the sacred killing order. 4 ministers, immediately head to Bright Moon City and destroy the Dragon Assassin organization to avenge my third son. Anyone related to the Dragon Assassin organization, kill. I want this assassin organization to leave no one alive. In the Star Moon King Palace, the Star Moon King waved his arm. An imperial decree, filled with killing intent, fell into the hands of an old man. The sacred killing order was issued. The strongest killing order in the Star Moon Kingdom. Once such a killing order was issued, all 9 clans would be exterminated. Not even a chicken or dog would be spared. Since the establishment of the Star Moon Kingdom, the sacred killing order had only been issued a few times. This was because in the Star Moon Kingdom, unless it was treason, the king would not issue such a sacred killing order. However, today the third prince had been killed. This action was even more serious than treason. This was a provocation to the Star Moon royal family, and a contempt for the royal authority. The 4 insightful Void Realm experts led the sacred killing order, and quickly flew toward Bright Moon City. At the same time, in Bright Moon City, City Lord Liu, and the general of the Bright Moon Army, were slightly shocked when they received the news from the palace. Seal Bright Moon City. No one is allowed to leave the city. Anyone who dares to leave the city will be attacked. Anyone who disobeys will be killed. City Lord Liu shouted softly and gave another order. Bright Moon Army, stand by. Activate the formation of Bright Moon City. Activate Level 1 battle preparations. During this period, anyone who makes a mistake will be punished tenfold. The Bright Moon Army general also loudly ordered his subordinates beside him. 4 insightful emptiness realm experts arrived with the holy killing order. The dragon spike must be destroyed. Chapter 1166. The sacred killing order arrived. Bright Moon City will be sealed. No one is allowed to leave the city. Anyone who dares to leave the city will be locked up. Anyone who disobeys will be killed. Bright Moon Army, stand by. Activate the formation of Bright Moon City. Activate Level 1 battle preparations. During this period, anyone who makes a mistake will be punished tenfold. The morning had not yet passed, and the entire Bright Moon City was in an uproar. Numerous guards and soldiers of the Bright Moon Army flew in the sky of Bright Moon City and announced to everyone. Below, everyone in Bright Moon City was stunned. What? They actually closed the city gates? What are the city lord and general trying to do? They want to completely seal Bright Moon City. To be so strict and directly seal the entire city. It seems that the Star Moon Kingdom has issued an order. Everyone below revealed shocked expressions. Sealing the city gates was a major matter that would only be done when Bright Moon City encountered a huge crisis. However, now that the city gates were sealed, no one was allowed to enter or leave. Everyone knew that Starmoon Kingdom was furious. They wanted to seal off the entire city, preparing to take action against the Dragon Assassin organization in the city. From this series of actions, one could tell how furious Starmoon Kingdom was. It's best to keep a low profile for the next few days. Take advantage of the incident with the Dragon Assassin organization and stay in the city. Do not offend the city guards and soldiers at this time. Otherwise, there is a high possibility of killing them on the spot. When the warning voices of the city guards and soldiers rang out in every corner, the entire Bright Moon City was clearly much quieter. Even the clamoring voices were gone, and the shouting voices were also much quieter. There was only the sound of torrential rain pouring down. Obviously, in the face of the Star Moon King's fury, everyone kept a much lower profile. This dragon spike is going to be in trouble, some people said slowly. With such a terrifying stance, the crisis of the dragon spike was about to arrive. Since the dragon spike has already taken action, there's no need for peace in this city. However, on the third floor of the restaurant, Wang Xian stood in front of the window and watched the soldiers fly past. He smiled when he saw the citizens talking in low voices. He picked up the teacup in his hand gently. His eyes were sparkling. At this moment, a scream of horror was heard in a restaurant, as though it was a bolt from the blue. Murder! Murder! The scream of horror was extremely conspicuous at this moment. On the second floor of the restaurant, more than a dozen customers looked at the middle-aged man, who was lying on the ground in horror. That red note. It's the dragon spike. Oh my god, the dragon spike is actually carrying out an assassination at this time. How did he die? I didn't see anything just now. How did he die? Shocked voices rang out one after another. Everyone looked at the middle-aged man lying on the ground in disbelief, looking at the bright red paper. At this time, the city gates were closed and the formation was fully activated, yet the dragon spike was still carrying out an assassination. Could he not be so fucking arrogant and crazy? He's killing people. The dragon spike is carrying out an assassination. However, at the same time, the entire Bright Moon City was filled with exclamations. At this moment, everyone was stunned. This was in broad daylight. You're carrying out an assassination mission in broad daylight. Not only were the citizens of Bright Moon City stunned, even the city guards and soldiers were dumbfounded. Was there a need to slap their faces like this? To assassinate them in broad daylight? Furthermore, the dragon spike had succeeded. This provocation, this is a blatant provocation. Assassins walk in the darkness, but today, the city has just been sealed, and the dragon spike immediately assassinated them. This is contempt for the Starmoon Kingdom. This is against the Starmoon Kingdom, this. A city guard captain stood beside the corpse of an extraordinary rank 9 expert, his body trembling as his pupils constricted. The surrounding soldiers and city guards were also slightly silent. They felt that Starmoon Kingdom had encountered a ruthless person this time. If they could not destroy this dragon spike, then the dragon spike would rule the entire underground of Starmoon Kingdom in the future. Immediately report this matter to the city lord and general. Without the slightest hesitation, the group immediately reported this matter to the higher-ups. This matter wasn't something they could handle. The strength of the dragon spike and their madness had already exceeded their expectations. Boom, boom, boom. Not long after, 2 figures floated in the sky, their cold gazes sweeping downwards, their faces incomparably gloomy. This dragon spike. City Lord Lu stood there, his expression so gloomy that it was almost dripping blood. The City Protection Surveillance Array did not detect any traces of the dragon spike's assassination. A transcendent level 9 expert was directly assassinated during the day. In a short span of 10 minutes, a total of more than 150 people died. Such a terrifying speed and terrifying assassination made even them feel a little apprehensive. Let's wait for Lord Xingguang and the others to arrive. This dragon spike is not something we can deal with. The general of the Bright Moon Army said with a solemn expression. Who? City Lord Lu let out a breath and nodded slowly. City Lord Lu had learned of the Dragon Spike's actions in East Sea City back then. The Dragon Spike had left the City Lord helpless. In Bright Moon City, they didn't have any good ideas either. They could only wait for the people of the Imperial City to arrive. The figures of the two disappeared, and weakly returned to the City Lord's manor. The entire Bright Moon City fell silent once more. Everyone was shocked as they discussed the Dragon Spike assassin organization. The assassination during the day had shocked everyone with the strength of the Dragon Spike. During the day they killed people on the streets. The city guards and soldiers were helpless, and the city lord and general didn't make a move. Obviously, they had no way to deal with the Dragon Spike. The orders to seal the city and make mistakes in the morning were a joke to the Dragon Spike. Hee. Wang Xian sat in the restaurant. He had the mentality of watching the situation unfold with a smile. He looked at the changes in Bright Moon City, and a smile appeared on his face. The current strange demons had evolved into the Light Spike. Their strongest time was not at night, but during the day. Only by assassinating them during the day could they truly display the full strength of the Dragon Spike. I wonder when the royal family will be able to arrive, Wang Xian mumbled. The strange demons that were sent out had already rushed towards the towns in Star Moon Kingdom. It was possible that when the royal family's experts arrived, the strange demons would have already arrived. When that time came, he wanted to see if the Star Moon Kingdom would lower their heads or swear to destroy the Dragon Spike. The torrential rain lasted for an entire day. Today's sky had darkened much earlier than usual. That's right. At dusk, four figures that were emitting terrifying energy like the bright moon were rapidly flying over from the west. Two of them were completely red, just like the sun. One of them was completely blue, as if carrying an ocean. The other was yellow like a flying mountain. The Sacred Killing Order has arrived. A cold voice rushed toward Bright Moon City. Chapter 1167. Kingdom lowered its head. The Sacred Killing Token has arrived. The voice covered the entire Bright Moon City, and everyone could hear it clearly. The cold voice revealed a murderous aura, causing everyone in Bright Moon City to hurriedly look over. This is Star Moon Kingdom's void interpretation experts have arrived. How terrifying. 4 void interpretation experts have actually arrived. The Sacred Killing Token. This is the Star Moon Kingdom's Sacred Killing Token. Once the Sacred Killing Token is released, it represents the Star Moon Kingdom's Sacred Killing Token. Everyone's gazes turned over. Those figures that carried boundless might surged with reverence in their hearts. Including City Lord Lu and the Bright Moon Army General, there are a total of 6 insightful Void Realm experts. 6. This is a rhythm that will not rest until the Dragon Spike is dead. Everyone muttered to themselves. When they saw that majestic figure flying over, their knees were slightly bent. The aura was too strong. Holy Killing Order. The Dragon Assassin Organization receives the order. The Holy Killing Order arrives. The Dragon Assassin Organization kill. The old man in the middle held a yellow imperial edict. With a wave of his arm, he threw it directly into the sky above Bright Moon City. The imperial edict suddenly became larger. On the golden background, there were large blood-red words that revealed endless killing intent. What a terrifying killing intent. Is this the strength of the Star Moon King? Even if it's just a single word, it already possesses such a terrifying aura. All the citizens of Bright Moon City raised their heads and looked over. The words that were several hundred meters in size emitted a powerful pressure. The might of the imperial edict was so terrifying. Looking at the words, everyone couldn't help but lower their heads, not daring to look at it for a long time. Humph! The old man snorted coldly, his eyes revealing endless killing intent. Welcome Lord Ling, Lord Xing, Lord Gu, Lord Xiaowei. Within the City Lord's manor, City Lord Lu and the Bright Moon Army General hurriedly flew out. When they saw the Sacred Killing Token, they were slightly shocked as they called out respectfully. The 4 of them nodded and immediately flew towards the City Lord's manor. Voila! The royal family of Star Moon Kingdom has sent someone over. Next, it will be the battle between the royal family and the dragon Spike. I wonder what the outcome will be. The strength of these 4 experts is so terrifying. The Holy Killing Order has been issued. 6 insightful Void Realm experts are dealing with the dragon Spike. This time, the dragon Spike can't continue to overturn the rivers and overturn the seas, right? There was an uproar within Bright Moon City. This was the first time many people had seen so many terrifying experts. Everyone waited quietly, waiting for what would happen next. Are they here? Standing in the restaurant and watching the 4 insightful Void Realm experts enter the City Lord's mansion, Wang Xian's face revealed a hint of coldness. The Holy Kill Order is for the Dragon Assassin Organization to receive the Imperial Edict. What a joke! Wang Xian smiled coldly. He took out the communication stone plate and sent 2 words. Action! When Wang Xian sent out these 2 words, the eyes of the group of demons in the cities and towns of Star Moon Kingdom froze slightly. Murderous intent was condensed. Star Moon Kingdom had 80 towns and 10 cities. Each town was similar to Holy Sea Town. In comparison, Holy Sea Town was considered a relatively large town because it was close to the ocean. The former mayor, Jin Xianyuan, was an expert at level 9 of the supernatural realm. As for the rest of the towns, a large portion of the mayor's strength was only at level 8 supernatural realm. Of course, there were also quite a number of level 9 supernatural realm experts. At this moment, in 20 of the towns in Star Moon Kingdom, many strange demons had arrived. One level 7 supernatural realm strange demon led 4 level 6 supernatural realm strange demons. They were able to assassinate level 9 and level 8 supernatural realm experts. A total of 100 strange demons were separated into 20 towns. When they received Wang Xian's message, they immediately took action. The mayor of a town had the strength of a level 9 extraordinaire. When faced with a group of dragon spikes, he was like a bunch of lambs waiting to be slaughtered. They didn't have the ability to resist at all. 100 strange demons easily entered the mayor's residence one by one to carry out the assassination. It was clean and without any surprises. Following that, the group of strange demons directly threw the mayor's body into the entrance of the mayor's residence. Beside them, there was a red congratulatory death note and a line of words. Reporting to Dragon King, it has been resolved. Reporting to Dragon King, it has been resolved. When Wang Xian's message was sent less than 10 minutes later, one message after another was sent. A total of 20 messages came from the 20 towns of Star Moon Kingdom. Very good. Next, we'll have to see the reaction of Star Moon Kingdom. If you don't surrender, let's continue. Wang Xian mumbled. At this moment, the 20 towns were in a state of chaos. The mayor was killed, and he was thrown directly at the entrance of the mayor's residence. Beside them, there was a red congratulatory death note. Beside the red note, there was a line of words. Tell your king that it was us, the dragon, who assassinated him. If you want to continue, then we will continue as well. This line of extremely arrogant words stunned everyone in the town. The other officials hurriedly reported back to the city with terrified expressions. The death of the mayor of a town was a very big matter for a town. Lord Ling, this dragon spike is incomparably arrogant. Before your arrival, it had assassinated over 100 people during the day. The third prince was also killed by this group of damnable fellows. Within the city lord's residence, City Lord Lu respectfully spoke to the old man seated in the middle. The old man, Ling Kaitian, was the most powerful existence in Star Moon Kingdom apart from the king. One could imagine the fury of the Star Moon King by sending him here this time. Humph, this dragon spike won't be arrogant for many more days. Even if we have to search them one by one, we must capture this group of evildoers and execute them by cutting them into pieces. Ling Kaitian snorted coldly, his expression incomparably cold. Lord Ling, it's us who have failed to protect the third prince's safety. We are guilty. City Lord Lu and the Bright Moon Army General stood up and apologized when they saw the old man's cold expression. After we destroy the dragon's spike, go and personally apologize to the king. Ling Kaitian glanced at the two of them and slightly narrowed his eyes. We'll start planning the operation to deal with the dragon spike now. I want to destroy them all within a day. With the four lords here, we'll definitely be able to destroy the dragon spike assassin organization. We'll let them know the consequences of daring to oppose us. City Lord Lu hurriedly said. There was also a huge gap between the insightful Emptiness Realm experts. As the second strongest expert in Star Moon Kingdom, Ling Kaitian was able to instantly kill him. Even though he was a city lord and an insightful Emptiness Realm expert, he still had to lower his stance in front of this person, even to the point of being respectful. Buzz buzz. Buzz buzz. However, just as he finished speaking, the communication stone plate on the table started ringing. At first he didn't care, but the communication stone plate kept ringing, which made him slightly surprised. Generally speaking, no one dared to send him messages continuously, unless it was an emergency. City Lord Lu moved his arm, and the communication stone plate flew into his hand. However, when he saw the message on it, his pupils constricted slightly, and his face stiffened. Chapter 1168 came to a shocking end. According to the information we received, this dragon assassin organization is a race of demonic beasts. They are good at hiding and possess the light attribute. Lord Ling. Ling Kaitian glanced at City Lord Lu, who was checking the communication stone plate. He then looked at the four people beside him and said slowly. However, just as he opened his mouth, City Lord Lu, whose forehead was covered in cold sweat, hurriedly interrupted him. Ling Kaitian looked at City Lord Lu with slight displeasure, his gaze fixed on him. Lord Ling, something has happened, something big has happened. City Lord Lu swallowed a mouthful of saliva and looked at him with an extremely embarrassed expression. Something has happened in the 8 towns under Bright Moon City. Something has happened in the town? What happened? Ling Kaitian frowned and asked him. It was the dragon spike. The dragon spike actually assassinated the mayors of the 8 towns under Bright Moon City just now. All the mayors were thrown at the entrance of the mayor's residence. Furthermore, there was a note beside them that said, "Tell your king that it was us who assassinated him. If you want to continue, then we will continue as well." All 8 town mayors have been killed. All of the town mayors have died. 8 towns are currently in chaos. City Lord Lu swallowed a mouthful of saliva and reported with a grim expression. 8 town mayors have been killed at the same time. This was a huge blow to Bright Moon City. Even for Star Moon Kingdom, this was an extremely important matter. The head of a town guarded a town. With the death of the head of a town, the entire town would be left in an ungoverned state. A town might not be important to the kingdom, but 8 towns, even for Star Moon Kingdom, would be extremely important. What? Ling Kaitian's expression changed slightly, and he stood up abruptly, his face darkening. The heads of 8 towns were assassinated. Ling Kaitian asked in a low voice with a gloomy expression. Lord Ling, this is only an accident in the towns under Bright Moon City. I wonder if there are any other towns that have been assassinated. If there are, there might be more than 8. City Lord Lu lowered his head with an extremely ugly expression. This dragon spike actually sent people to assassinate all the town mayors under Bright Moon City. This was no different from assassinating a prince. When Ling Tiankai heard City Lord Lu's words, his expression changed slightly. Without the slightest hesitation, he immediately took out his communication stone plate and contacted the city lords of the various cities. As the second strongest person in Star Moon Kingdom, and the only king with a different surname in Star Moon Kingdom, Ling Kaitian's authority was second only to that of the king. All the city lords did not dare to hide anything from him. One by one, messages were sent to his side, causing his expression to become gloomier and gloomier. King Ling, what's the situation? Xing Guanghuan looked at Ling Kaitian's expression and frowned as he asked with a grave expression. Peng. Ling Kaitian sat down on the chair, his expression constantly changing. Up till now 20 town mayors have been killed. This matter needs to be reported to the king for handling. What? 20 town mayors? How? How is this possible? How can the Dragon Spike have so many terrifying experts? The group of 5 insightful Void Realm experts, Star Moon Kingdom's top existences, widened their eyes in disbelief when they heard Ling Kaiqian's words. 20 town mayors. 20 towns. To assassinate a town mayor, one had to have at least the strength of a transcendent level 9. 20 towns represented 20 rank 9 transcendent assassins. How could the Dragon Spike have so many terrifying experts? One had to know that within the Undercurrent Assassin organization, there were only 5 rank 9 transcendent experts. Just these 5 experts, together with the Undercurrent Master, dominated the entire Star Moon Kingdom's underground. Yet the Dragon Spike actually had at least 20. Perhaps this number was much higher, because the Dragon Spike still had quite a number of assassins within Bright Moon City. The expressions of the 5 insightful Emptiness Realm experts kept changing. They knew what it meant to have so many top-notch assassins. It meant that they could kill all the mayors of 80 towns in Star Moon Kingdom. It could cause a city to sink into a state of panic. Back when the Undercurrent was famous in Star Moon Kingdom, the king had paid special attention to it. In the end, they had even cooperated with the Undercurrent. A powerful assassin organization, even if it was a kingdom, would be extremely fearful. The birth of a transcendent level 9 assassin was not inferior to nurturing a half-step void interpretation expert. A half-step void interpretation expert was not inferior to a void interpretation expert. The strength of an assassin lay in their divine abilities. They were all used to kill. The inheritance of an assassin was extremely difficult. 20 level 9 extraordinary assassins could cause the Star Moon Kingdom to fall into a state of panic. Ling Kaiqian expressionlessly transmitted this information to the king. The entire city lord's manor fell silent. The situation had already far exceeded their imaginations. It was no longer something they could decide. Now, if they wanted to deal with the Dragon Spike, perhaps the towns below the kingdom would be completely massacred by the Dragon Spike. For a time, the 4 insightful void martial artists who had just arrived here and vowed to destroy the Dragon Spike, their bodies filled with murderous aura, all withered. The town mayors of 20 towns have been assassinated by the Dragon Spike. Within Star Moon Kingdom, the Star Moon King sat on the dragon throne with his eyes closed, muttering. He just sat there and did not open his eyes for a full 10 minutes. Finally, he sent a message to Ling Kaiqian. Return. Return. Within the mansion of the city lord of Bright Moon City, Ling Kaiqian's pupils constricted when he saw these 2 words. However, he was not too surprised. His opponent was too mysterious and too powerful. He was also an assassin organization. Facing such an enemy, it was completely unwise to make an enemy out of him, even if the 3rd prince was killed. However, the life of the 3rd prince was insignificant compared to the lives of 80 towns and the entire Star Moon Kingdom's dynasty. The king could not possibly suffer heavy losses because of one son. The king might have to deal with the Dragon Spike next, but it was definitely not now. Because right now, the king and the Dragon Spike really could not afford to play with each other. Let's go back. Ling Kaiqian looked at Xing Guang and the other 2 and said expressionlessly. Xing Guang and the other 2 were slightly stunned and nodded silently. They also knew the king's concerns. If it were them, they would also make the same choice. There was no other way. Facing such a crazy and powerful assassin organization, if they could not directly destroy it, it would be a disaster for the kingdom. The king couldn't bear it, and neither could the kingdom. However, they had arrived at Bright Moon City in an awe-inspiring manner, as if they were the ruler of the world. However, they had left in less than an hour. This was a little too much of a slap to their faces. It wasn't just a slap to their faces. It was also a slap to the face of the entire Star Moon Kingdom. When City Lord Liu and the Bright Moon Army General heard this, bitterness appeared on their faces. Even Ling Sir, they all left. Then here is the world of the Dragon Spike. Chapter 1169 Dragon Thorns. They have left. In the restaurant, Feng Wuan looked at the position of the mayor's residence. She looked at the four figures that were disappearing quickly and said to Wang Xian calmly, "It seems that the country is still more important than my son." Wang Xian stood beside her and said with a smile, "The main reason is that the dragon thorns are too powerful. The deviant demons are too powerful." Feng Wuan sighed. Feng Wuan was very clear about the power of the dragon spike. What made her most envious was the strange demons. There were more than 170 strange demons. Among them, there were around 150 that could assassinate rank 8 transcendence and 20 that could assassinate rank 9 transcendence. One that could assassinate a half-step void interpretation expert. Such a terrifying assassin, if placed in a small country, would definitely cause the entire kingdom to be on tenterhooks. Even in the current Dragon Phoenix Empire, the dragon spike could cause the entire Dragon Phoenix Empire to be in darkness. It wouldn't be long before the citizens of the Dragon Phoenix Empire fled to other places. Wang Xian revealed a smile. "Your subordinates are also very terrifying." He looked at the four figures that had disappeared with his bewitching eyes, and the corners of his mouth curled up slightly. If nothing goes wrong, Star Moon Kingdom will be under the control of the Dragon Thorns in the future. I'll try my best to cover the entire Star Moon Kingdom within a few months. As Wang Xian spoke, he took out his communication stone plate with a smile on his face and sent a message to the Draconids. Continue the mission. The mission continued. After the 9 Draconids received the message, they didn't hesitate at all. They immediately sent the message through the communication channel of the Dragon Thorns Assassin Organization. Damn, the Dragon Spike has resumed the mission. What are they doing? No way, for insightful Void Realm experts just came to Bright Moon City with the Holy Killing Order, and they still dare to accept the mission. My god, what is the Dragon Spike doing? They don't even put the 4 insightful Void Realm experts in their eyes? This. When those clans and mercenary groups with the Dragon Spike's contact information received the message from the Dragon Assassin Organization, their faces revealed a look of disbelief. What the hell was this? Was the Dragon Spike planning to commit a crime against the wind? Did they think that they could fight against 6 or even 7 insightful Emptiness Realm experts in the city? Does the Dragon Spike have a trump card to fight against insightful Emptiness Realm experts? Otherwise, why would he still dare to commit a crime against the wind at this time? The people of Bright Moon City revealed a look of shock and bewilderment. Should we give it a try? Within a mercenary group, an old man revealed a hesitant expression. Let's just wait. In the end, no one dared to hire the Dragon Assassin group at this juncture. Time passed very quickly. The night passed once again. The sky cleared up and the sun rose into the sky. The warm sunlight illuminated the entire Bright Moon City. The entire Bright Moon City was incomparably calm. The curfew has been lifted. The city seal has been lifted. In the early morning, the city guards' voices rang out within Bright Moon City. This caused all the citizens of Bright Moon City to reveal astonished expressions. What's going on? All the curfews have been lifted, and the patrolling soldiers are clearly gone. And the city guards have also decreased by a lot. Didn't the 4 experts come yesterday with the Holy Killing Order? Logically speaking, they should be dealing with the Dragon Spike by today at the latest. So why isn't there any movement at all? Everyone was somewhat stupefied. Yesterday the 4 insightful Emptiness Realm experts had arrived domineeringly, but after that, there wasn't the slightest reaction. It was as if they hadn't arrived. In fact, even the restrictions within the city had been removed, and the city protection array that had been opened with all its might had been directly shut down. This situation caused everyone to feel somewhat stupefied. Could it be that the Dragon Spike has really caused Star Moon Kingdom to bow its head? The Dragon Spike had assassinated the 3rd prince. When everyone thought of the Dragon Spike resuming its mission last night, they were all stunned, and their eyes revealed a look of disbelief. Other than the Dragon Spike causing Star Moon Kingdom to bow its head, they could not think of any other answer. However, Star Moon Kingdom lowering its head and submitting was a little shocking to everyone. Killing the third prince was nothing. What kind of power could cause the Star Moon Kingdom to not even take revenge on their own son? This dragon spike is too terrifying. Some people looked at each other, shock appearing in their eyes. What does Star Moon Kingdom mean? Within the City Lord's manor, the long-haired master of Undercurrent stared at City Lord Lu with bloodshot eyes, as he roared in a low voice filled with anger. Undercurrent, the king didn't even take revenge on the third prince. What do you mean? City Lord Lu saw the master of Undercurrent staring at him, and angrily questioned him. And he said coldly with an unhappy face. Even the third prince was killed, and the king didn't take revenge. So what if you, the son of an Undercurrent assassin organization, was killed? What did it mean? The master of Undercurrent's expression changed slightly, and his body trembled slightly. His heart was filled with endless anger. All this while, even when he had just been slapped in the face by the dragon spike, he had never been so angry. At this moment, he could no longer hold it in. The City Lord's mansion prohibited him from providing any information about the master of Undercurrent. If he wanted to deal with the dragon spike, he had to rely on himself. Rely on himself. He was the leader of the master of Undercurrent. He knew how difficult it was to deal with an assassin organization, especially this dragon assassin organization. If he didn't have the assistance of the City Lord's mansion, it would be impossible for him to deal with the dragon spike. Undercurrent Master's face was filled with frost. His body moved, and he directly flew out. Everyone thought that he was a madman, but a madman was able to become a powerful, insightful void expert. The leader of the assassin organization also possessed a powerful mind. If he really wanted to waste time with the dragon spike every day, it would obviously be a foolish act. However, what made him extremely unwilling was that in the future, the underground of Star Moon Kingdom would be under the control of the dragon spike. Dragon spike! The master of Undercurrent shouted in a low voice. His eyes were filled with a crazed killing intent. Let's go. We have gained a lot this time. We can have a good rest when we return to the Dragon Palace. When will your auction be held? At the east gate of Bright Moon City, Wang Xian and Feng Wuan were walking out with smiles on their faces. There was a kitten lying on Wang Xian's shoulder. For the auction, we have to wait until the Dragon and Phoenix Royal City is completely renovated. At the very least, we have to make the Dragon and Phoenix Royal City as big as Bright Moon City. Feng Wuan looked at Wang Xian and said, but it will take at most 2 months. Okay. Wang Xian nodded his head slowly. The Dragon Phoenix Empire had been established. Feng Wuan wanted to let the Dragon Phoenix Empire enter the stage of the Luhai district and step onto the stage of the extraordinary mainland. Firstly, she wanted to attract the merchants and the mercenary groups to settle down in the Dragon Phoenix Royal City. The best way was to hold a large-scale auction. When the time came, she would take out enough treasures to attract the experts and mercenary groups from the surrounding countries. Wang Xian would also sell his pet eggs and the bloodlines of demonic beasts and ferocious beasts at this auction. Chapter 1170. To make up for it. When Bright Moon City was once again enveloped by the dragon thorns, Wang Xian had already arrived at the royal city of Dragon and Phoenix. Currently, hundreds of thousands of citizens were expanding the city in the royal city of Dragon and Phoenix. It could be seen that the citizens were building their homes with passion. In the past, due to the help of Wang Xian and the policies of Feng Wuan, the citizens of the royal city were united as one. When the people were united, the speed of building a city would be doubled. In this world with powerful martial arts, even if the city walls were dozens of meters high and dozens of meters wide, the speed of construction was still terrifying. However, it took almost all of Feng Wuan's savings to build this city. This was also because Feng Wuan had higher requirements for the city walls. Otherwise, the resources she took out would be enough to build 7 to 8 cities like Bright Moon City. After all, this was the starting point of the Dragon Phoenix Empire, the future Dragon Phoenix Royal City. Aren't you going back to the Dragon Palace? Feng Wuan saw Wang Xian following her into the Dragon Phoenix Royal City and asked him curiously, "I have something to take care of." Wang Xian smiled and looked into the Dragon Phoenix Royal City. Feng Wuan looked at the Icefire civet cat on his shoulder and rolled her eyes at him. She didn't say anything else. Wang Xian came to the side of the mayor's residence. He looked at the room and the items in the interspatial ring. Then he walked over with a smile on his face. Knock knock. There was a knock on the door. In the courtyard, Zhang Fengying was sitting under a tree. Beside her, there were a few sculptures. These sculptures all looked like her family members. Looking at the sculptures, she was a little absent-minded. However, compared to before, the sadness in her eyes was much less. Time could heal all wounds. However, time made her feel lonely. In this city, she didn't know what she could do without her family. She didn't know what beliefs she had to support her to survive. When she heard the knocking on the door, she forced a smile on her face. "Luyan, come in," she said softly. "Ah." The door was pushed open. When Wang Xian heard Zhang Fengying's words, he felt a little embarrassed. It seemed that she had mistaken him for Jin Luyan. "Ah, Wang Xian." When Zhang Fengying saw Wang Xian, she was slightly stunned. She squeezed out a smile and shouted softly. She was filled with curiosity towards this young man in front of her at the beginning. She really wanted to get to know this young man. She even knew that she had a good impression of him. However, the disaster that followed caused her to have mixed feelings. If it wasn't for Wang Xian, their Zhang family wouldn't have been wiped out. "Fengying, I went on a long trip a few days ago and brought some gifts for you." Wang Xian looked at her expression and felt a little helpless. He walked over with a smile. "No, I don't need it." Zhang Fengying looked at Wang Xian and shook her head slowly. She didn't know how to face him. "I'll leave it with you. You must use it as soon as possible. Don't let others see it. Also, I'll give you a cat so that you won't be so bored in the future." As Wang Xian spoke, he carried the Icefire civet cat on his shoulder and gestured to the little guy. "Meow." The Icefire civet cat licked Wang Xian reluctantly. However, after Wang Xian glared at it, the little fella turned its head with a twinkle in its eyes and jumped to Zhang Fengying's side easily. "Meow." The fire and ice civet cat looked at Zhang Fengying and stretched out its hand to lick her palm. Zhang Fengying looked at the two tails and the red and blue eyes. A hint of shock appeared in her eyes. This is the fire and ice civet cat demon beast. It can speak human language. You need to teach it well. Wang Xian spoke to Zhang Fengying. With a move of his arm, a bloodline that was emitting a strong vitality appeared in front of him. The bloodline contained a majestic energy. Instinctively, it made all the living beings around them restless. If there were ferocious beasts around, they would definitely go crazy over the bloodline. This is the bloodline of the tarsal bone demon beast. It can improve your bloodline. Absorb it as soon as possible. In addition, this is the inheritance of a beast tamer. If you are interested, you can cultivate it. If you are not interested, you can just burn it. As Wang Xian spoke, he placed the items beside Zhang Fengying one by one. When she looked at the legendary demonic beast cub in front of her, which she had read about in a certain document, and looked at the bloodline inheritance that contained such terrifying bloodline energy, that was at least at the 5th and 6th level of the void interpretation realm, her heart pounded violently. As for the last inheritance, to be able to be placed together with the demonic beast cub and the void interpretation bloodline, it was definitely not simple. Zhang Fengying stared at Wang Xian with her eyes wide open. Her eyes were filled with disbelief. "These things of yours, are these still?" she said to Wang Xian in a panic. It was at least the inheritance of the 5th level void interpretation demonic beast bloodline, the legendary demonic beast Icefire civet cat, and the inheritance of a beast tamer. Regardless of which one it was a treasure that could make the entire kingdom, and even the entire Luhai region go crazy. Yet now, Wang Xian actually gave all three treasures to her. Take it as compensation for you. You should quickly absorb the demon beast bloodline now. If you need anything in the future, contact me." Wang Xian smiled and said to her. These items are too precious. I can't take them from you. Zhang Fengying shook her head quickly. The things that Wang Xian gave her were beyond her imagination. Take it. All right, I'm leaving now. Contact me if you need anything. Also, you must use the demonic beast bloodline as soon as possible. As Wang Xian spoke, he walked out. When Zhang Fengying saw Wang Xian leaving, she opened her mouth and stood up immediately. She was wearing a long, loose robe that covered her knees. Even with the loose clothes, one could still tell that she had an extremely good figure. She opened her mouth, but saw Wang Xian's figure move and disappear. Meow, beautiful Zhang Fengying, hello. At this moment, the ice-fire civet cat on her suddenly spoke to her. Zhang Fengying was slightly stunned. She looked at the ice-fire civet cat in astonishment, and then smiled. One cannot always look at the past. Since I'm alive, I have to do it for the sake of some beliefs in my heart. I hope you can forgive my selfishness. Zhang Fengying mumbled. She looked at the demonic beast bloodline, and the beast master's inheritance in front of her, and picked it up before walking into the room. Phew, it's good that you accept it. The last thing I like is to owe someone a favor. Not far from the courtyard, Wang Xian looked at Zhang Fengying's residence with a bewitching gaze. When he saw her entering the room with the tarsal bone demonic beast bloodline, a smile appeared on his face. Phew! All of a sudden, Wang Xian sucked in a breath of cold air. There was an inexplicable look in his eyes. Don't look at me when I'm being rude. Don't look at me when I'm being rude. I'm not such a person. Wang Xian shook his head quickly. His eyes were burning as he flew towards the dragon palace in the distance. Chapter 1171, Bottleneck of Development. Wang Xian, these are all the elixirs that you bought with your spirit stones. Time passed very quickly. 2 months passed in a blink of an eye. During these 2 months, Wang Xian had been staying in the Dragon Palace. He accompanied a few girls to cultivate in the Dragon Palace. Feng Wuan came to Wang Xian's side and handed him an interspatial ring. Wang Xian took it and revealed an excited expression. That's enough, that's enough. Where are Xu Qing and the rest? Feng Wuan looked around the Dragon Palace and asked Wang Xian. They're cultivating. Wang Xian replied directly. I'm going to cultivate too. I should be able to achieve a breakthrough in the next 2 days. There will be a grand auction in the Dragon and Phoenix Royal City. Be careful. Feng Wuan reminded Wang Xian, and flew directly to a cultivation site that she had specially built on the surrounding mountains. I'm actually going to achieve a breakthrough. I was originally thinking of catching up to Feng Wuan. Now it seems that I have to work harder. Wang Xian raised his eyebrows and flew into the Dragon King Palace. In 2 months, the entire Dragon Palace was developing rapidly. Ao Qitian, Ao Qi, and the other generals of the Dragon Palace led their subordinates to expand the territory around them. In the past 2 months, there were no more ferocious beasts or demonic beasts within a 100-kilometer radius. Their strength was improving at a terrifying speed every day. The resources of the Dragon Palace were also being collected quickly. Compared to when the Dragon Palace descended, all the members of the Dragon Palace had leveled up by 1 level. The rate at which they had leveled up was already terrifying. The Dragon Assassin Organization had completely covered Star Moon Kingdom in the past 2 months. Ever since that incident in Bright Moon City, Star Moon Kingdom hadn't stopped the Dragon Assassin Organization at all. Perhaps Star Moon Kingdom really wanted to destroy the Dragon Assassin Organization, but they absolutely didn't dare to act rashly before they found the Dragon Assassin Organization's lair and destroyed it in one fell swoop. 10 cities, 80 towns. The Dragon Spike had now become the underground emperor of Star Moon Kingdom. However, the Dragon Spike that occupied the entire Star Moon Kingdom had brought Wang Xian more than 150 billion middle-grade spirit stones in 2 months. This was an extremely terrifying figure. More than 150 billion middle-grade spirit stones were enough to buy 3 half-step void interpretation demonic beast bloodlines. Wang Xian gave all these spirit stones to Feng Wuan and asked her to help him buy elixirs. Feng Wuan had her own alchemist. Although the Fire Cloud Sparrow clan could not provide her with martial arts, they could still provide her with other assistance. For example, buying spiritual herbs. These spirit stones were all refined by Feng Wan through the Fire Cloud Sparrow clan's purchase of spiritual herbs. Wang Xian sat cross-legged in the Dragon King's hall and looked at the elixirs one by one before throwing them into his mouth. There were tens of thousands of pills in his interspatial ring. He stuffed all of them into his mouth as if he was eating candy. As the pills entered his stomach one by one, his dragon energy was increasing at a terrifying speed. Boom! Roar! Roar! The pills were being consumed at a terrifying speed. When he was about to consume them to the end, the sound of a dragon's roar came from within his body. Roar! Wang Xian transformed into his dragon form. His 40-meter-long body emitted a loud and crisp sound. His dragon head, body, and tail were growing rapidly. The aura emanating from his body was getting more and more terrifying. In the entire Dragon Palace, all the members felt the breakthrough of their Dragon King. They knelt on the ground and bowed respectfully towards the Dragon King's palace. Ding! Congratulations to host for raising your level to extraordinary level 8. Ding! Congratulations to host for comprehending the water attribute divine ability, water spirit. Ding! Congratulations to quality for comprehending the fire and earth dual attribute divine ability, fire territory. Ding! Congratulations to quality for comprehending the water and wood dual attribute divine ability, water and wood healing. The system's voice was heard and information was transmitted into Wang Xian's mind one by one. Phew! I've finally made a breakthrough after consuming nearly 150 billion middle-grade spirit stones. Wang Xian heaved a sigh of relief. His eyes were sparkling with excitement. This breakthrough had given him 3 divine abilities. Most importantly, there were 2 dual attribute divine abilities among them. The power of dual attribute divine abilities was far from as simple as 1 + 1 = 2. Wang Xian had a thought. Name, Wang Xian. Race, 5 elemental divine dragon, able to transform into a human. Level, extraordinary level 8. Dragon crystal, 17640/1000000000. Supernatural ability, ruling the water tribe that is lower than one's own level. Devouring creatures to extract dragon crystals. Control of the 5 elements. Cultivation method, divine dragon transformation. Supernatural ability, fire dragon's flame. Gold splits the void, wood world descends, water crisis city, fury of the earth, soul capture, spirit possession. Light and dark fire dragon eyes. Light and dark void, light and dark shadowless. Earth dragon shield, light and dark. Divine dragon's fire tail, water spirit, fire territory, water and wood healing. Dragon Palace, level 2. Dragon Palace members, 3,355. The 3 newly added abilities, water spirit and wood healing, are supportive healing abilities. The fire territory is a powerful ability with both earth and fire attributes. I wonder if my current strength is comparable to the first level of the see-through realm. Maybe the fire territory can fight against the spells of the see-through realm experts. Wang Xian mumbled to himself. As he felt his strength that was 10 times stronger, an excited expression appeared on his face. The current him, an expert of the first level of the see-through realm, might not be able to defeat him. As for whether he could defeat an expert of the see-through realm, it was very uncertain. After all, there was a qualitative difference between the Abhijna and Dharma spells. It would be a little difficult to cross this threshold. The next upgrade requires 100 million dragon crystals. If converted into spirit stones, it would be more than 1 trillion middle-grade spirit stones. More than 1 trillion. This number is too terrifying. Wang Xian frowned slightly. Every upgrade would consume a huge amount of resources. Especially after that, the amount of resources was so huge that even he couldn't bear it. What was the concept of more than 1 trillion middle-grade spirit stones? Even the royal family of Star Moon Kingdom might not be able to afford more than 1 trillion middle-grade spirit stones. The next upgrade will be a huge bottleneck. It will even require the accumulation of the Dragon Palace for a few years. However, if the Dragon Palace were to give all the accumulation to themselves, the development of the Dragon Palace would be much slower. Wang Xian frowned. The next upgrade of his strength would be a huge expenditure. The Dragon and Phoenix Royal City will be holding a grand auction. The items in my hands should be able to be sold for 600 to 700 billion middle-grade spirit stones. It might be a little more. However, there is still a long way to go before I can upgrade my level again. Wang Xian had a hesitant look on his face. Next, he had to think carefully about how to obtain resources. Otherwise, his own improvement would slow down the progress of the entire Dragon Palace. Phew! Wang Xian returned to his human form and sat on the dragon throne. He took out the information beside him. This was the information that Prime Minister Gui had compiled about the sea area around the Dragon Palace, as well as the future development of the Dragon Palace. The development of the Dragon Palace is on the right track. I can't have too much of an impact just because of my improvement. Looks like I'll have to settle this on my own, Wang Xian mumbled. Chapter 1172, The Tomb of Demi-Humans. Boom. In the Dragon Palace, when Wang Xian was looking through some information about the Dragon Palace, a powerful aura came from a mountain peak in front of the Dragon King's palace. What a fast speed. It has only been half a day, and he has already made a breakthrough. Wang Xian was slightly stunned. He looked over and saw that the blazing flames were emitting a terrifying temperature. It dyed half of the sky in the Dragon Palace red. The indestructible wood has the ability to double the cultivation speed of fire element cultivators. This is also the reason why Feng Wan is able to improve so quickly. Wang Xian thought to himself. He saw a noble figure walking out from a mountain peak. He moved his feet slightly and exuded an imposing aura. You broke through so quickly. Wang Xian looked at Feng Wan and asked with a smile. It's all thanks to my training in your Dragon Palace. Otherwise, I would need at least 2 years to break through to the second level of the see-through realm. Feng Wan smiled and said, The auction of the Dragon and Phoenix Empire will be held in 4 days. At that time, many experts from the Luhai region will be here. You should hide well in the Dragon Palace. Many experts from the Luhai region? Did you publicize the auction to so many countries? Wang Xian asked in slight surprise. There's no need to publicize it to every country. We just need to publicize it at the place of the tomb of the human demon. Feng Wan smiled and looked at him. In a good mood, she walked to Wang Xian and placed a fruit into her mouth. The tomb of the human demon? Wang Xian was slightly taken aback. What kind of place is the tomb of the human demon? Don't you know? It seems like you still don't know much about the Transcendence continent. Feng Wan shook her head. The human demon graveyard is also a battlefield between humans and beasts. On the Transcendence continent, some demonic beasts coexist peacefully with humans, while some demonic beasts fight to the death with humans. Demonic beasts are extremely smart. Powerful demonic beast races have established groups of tribes and control billions of ferocious beasts. The human demon graveyard is a special place. In the middle of the flowing sea region is called the Blood Flow Sea. It is an area covered by forests and oceans. There used to be an ancient sect called the Blood Flow Sect in the Blood Flow Sea. Blood Flow Sect. When Wang Xian heard Feng Wan mention these 3 words, he seemed to have some impression of it. He seemed to have seen it somewhere before. Blood Flow Sect is a very special ancient sect. It used to be the overlord of the flowing sea region. Blood Flow Sect is an ancient sect that was founded by demonic beasts and humans. Their cultivation method is a little special. They gather fresh blood and spiritual energy to increase their strength. At that time, the Bloodstream sect had millions of disciples. Their strength was extremely terrifying. It was said that even the Dragon clan did not dare to provoke the Bloodstream sect. Later, a shocking war broke out between the human clan and the Demon Beast clan within the Bloodstream sect. Since then the Bloodstream sect was annihilated. However, although the Bloodstream sect was annihilated, it still left behind the Bloodstream Holy Land. This bloodstream holy land was a paradise for humans and demon beasts. It was even located at the core of the bloodstream holy land. The level of spiritual energy here was not inferior to that of your dragon palace. Therefore, this place became a place where humans and demon beasts fought for. Countless demon beast experts, humans, and even ferocious beasts flocked to this place. There used to be descendants of the demon beast race of the bloodstream sect. Therefore, the demon beasts and humans there were in a hostile state. Whenever they met, they would kill each other. In that place, humans and demon beasts fought for 500 to 600 years. Hundreds of thousands of human experts died. Later, some human experts withdrew from the fight for this place, and the rest of the human experts also withdrew. But after 500 years, a group of terrifying demonic beasts entered the human kingdoms and directly massacred 4 to 5 kingdoms. Only then did all the humans in the Wuxia region realize the danger. Those demonic beasts that occupied the bloodstream sect had their strength increased by 5 to 6 times over the course of 500 years. Letting the demonic beasts occupy that place was undoubtedly a slow death for the humans. Therefore, all the dynasties in the Wuxia region gathered their strength and set up a large-scale mercenary group there. They issued many missions there. From then on, humans once again fought with the demon beasts for the spiritual liquid and the blood essence. After thousands of years, the members of the mercenary group and the experts who died there numbered in the hundreds of millions. After that, they were known as the graveyard of the transvestites. Nowadays, the graveyard of the demi-humans is known as the training ground for the weak, the glorious battlefield for the strong mercenary group, and the famous place for the strong and the heavens' favorites. I've publicized the auction house of the Dragon and Phoenix dynasty there. Naturally, it will be spread to all the dynasties in the Wuxia region. Feng Wuan told Wang Xian about one in detail. This made him nod his head slightly. He didn't expect there to be such a place in the Flowing Sea region. The training ground for the weak, the glorious battlefield for the powerful mercenary groups, and the famous place for the strong heavens' favorites. Wang Xian was deep in thought. All right, I have to head to the Dragon Phoenix Royal City to make some preparations. There might be a terrifying powerhouse at the 4th level of the Void Interpretation stage at the auction in 4 days. I have to be prepared. As Feng Wuan spoke, she moved her body and prepared to fly out. Feng Wuan, wait for a moment. Send me the detailed information regarding the human-demon graveyard. Wang Xian quickly said to Feng Wuan. Alright, why? Do you want to go there and take a look? Feng Wuan looked at him in surprise. Let me take a look first. Wang Xian didn't give a clear answer. Get someone to go to my place to get it. Feng Wuan said to Wang Xian. Alright. Wang Xian nodded, and immediately sent a golden swordfish over to get the information. In less than half an hour, the golden swordfish sent the information over. Wang Xian then started to read through it. The graveyard of humans and demons was an area where the humans and demons fought to the death. It must be extraordinary. The resources there must be far beyond Wang Xian's imagination. Now that he wanted to improve further, the resources he needed were too huge. Wang Xian had to think of a way to obtain more resources. After experiencing the 100 Beast City, Wang Xian had great confidence in the light and dark fire dragon eyes. He believed that as long as he entered a treasure ground, he would not return empty-handed. If this cemetery was suitable, Wang Xian could go there and take a look. Flipping through the information of the cemetery, Wang Xian read through it bit by bit. Very soon, he had a clear understanding of the cemetery. A hesitant look appeared on his face as he considered whether he should head there. Just as he thought, the resources there were huge. Many top-notch experts in the Wuxia region had risen to prominence here. But that place was also very dangerous. There was only one way to obtain resources, and that was to kill. Only by killing could one obtain resources. Between humans and beasts, between humans and humans. Here the number of insightful emptiness realm experts was no less than 50. This was a holy land, and at the same time, it was also a bloody land. Chapter 1173, Dragon and Phoenix Empire Auction. 3 days passed in a flash. Wang Xian opened his eyes and looked at the 5 girls who were still cultivating beside him. A smile appeared on his face. Some time ago, after the few girls got bored of playing in the Dragon and Phoenix Royal City, they devoted themselves to cultivating. Lan Qingyue left the Dragon Palace in pursuit of strength. This gave the few girls a lot of pressure. This made them not want to be too far away from Qingyu. Xiaoyu was cultivating on a mountain beside the Dragon King's palace, while Feng Lingtian had entered the Dragon and Phoenix Empire and became a city guard. In his words, as a man, he couldn't just stay here all day. He had to make a name for himself. Wang Xian naturally didn't stop his brother-in-law's ambition. The auction of the Dragon and Phoenix Empire starts today. Let's go and take a look. Wang Xian moved and flew towards the location outside the Dragon Palace. In the time of 2 people, the entire Dragon and Phoenix Royal City has undergone tremendous changes. Floating in the sky, Wang Xian looked at the huge city in front of him with a smile on his face. Compared to the previous Shanghai town, the current Dragon and Phoenix Royal City had expanded by 10 times. The city walls that were dozens of meters tall were now close to 100 meters tall. From afar, it looked like a majestic lion lying on the prairie. Terrifying energy was gathered on the towers that were hundreds of meters tall. Void interpretation level formations covered the entire city. The defensive formation of the Dragon Phoenix Royal City alone was not something that an ordinary kingdom could compete with. Chirp chirp. At this moment, the chirping of birds and beasts could be heard from the sky. Wang Xian raised his head and looked over. A hint of surprise could be seen on his face. A huge green bird that was about 10 meters in size with its wings spread out flew towards the Dragon Phoenix Royal City. Each of its wings was emitting a green glow. The entire huge bird seemed to be riding on the wind as it emitted a powerful aura. A half-step void interpretation level ferocious beast. Wang Xian looked at the 5 to 6 people above him. His eyes were sparkling. There was a void interpretation expert. Boom, boom, boom. At this moment, there were sounds of tremors coming from below. Wang Xian looked over. There were 4 ferocious beasts that were like lions. They were earthy yellow in color and had golden fur. They were about 5 meters in size. Behind them was a luxurious palanquin. The palanquin was golden in color. It was rushing towards them from afar. Its speed was extremely terrifying. 4 earth gold lion beasts of transcendent level 9. Wang Xian looked over, and his pupils constricted slightly. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. At this moment, beams of auroras came from the sky. He turned his head quickly and saw a middle-aged man dressed in white flying towards them on his flying sword. He looked extremely elegant. There are many strong practitioners here. Wang Xian looked over, and his eyes were filled with surprise. Just the group of people he saw had 3 insightful void stage powerhouses. In that case, there would be at least 20 to 30 insightful void stage powerhouses in the auction of the Dragon and Phoenix Empire, or even more. After all, there would be a demonic beast bloodline of the insightful void stage in this auction. This item would definitely be a crazy treasure in the flowing sea region. The huge city gate was 50 to 60 meters tall, and the thickness of the city wall was more than 10 meters. Wang Xian came to the position at the city gate and saw rows of soldiers of the Dragon and Phoenix army standing in a row with cold eyes. 2 half-step insightful void tier powerhouses and 10 extraordinary level 9 powerhouses were standing at the side to prevent anyone from causing trouble. TSK, this Dragon and Phoenix Empire that suddenly appeared is so powerful. I've never heard of it before, but there are quite a number of powerhouses. I heard that this Dragon Phoenix Empire has just been established not too long ago. However, it should have some strength. Even Star Moon Kingdom can't do anything about it. A few armored members of the mercenary group looked at the soldiers beside them, and a hint of fear appeared in their eyes. The other experts, even those from the royal families of other countries and powerful sects, were also slightly surprised when they saw the soldiers around the Dragon Phoenix Empire and the array formation inside. I wonder if this Dragon Phoenix Empire will become a Christian carp crossing the river, or a fish leaping over the Dragon Gate. Some of the experts with extraordinary statuses glanced around and commented indifferently. To some experts from other countries, the strength of the Dragon Phoenix Empire could only be considered not bad. However, it was still far from becoming a powerful empire that stood tall in the flowing sea region. However, to some ordinary mercenary group members, the Dragon Phoenix Empire wasn't simple at all. This was especially true for the Star Moon Kingdom's mercenary groups. To the nearby Wind Howl Empire and the Darning Empire's mercenary group members and families, the Dragon Phoenix Imperial City had clearly shocked them a lot. Especially the City Protection Array, which made their hearts burn with passion. If they could live in this city, at the very least their safety would be extremely good. There's actually a recruitment here. The Dragon Phoenix Dynasty is recruiting a large number of powerful mercenary group members to live in and recruit experts. After passing through the city gate, there was an eye-catching sign at the entrance, recruitment. The main purpose of the large-scale auction held by Feng Yuan was to attract experts and attract people to live in the Dragon Phoenix Imperial City. The Dragon Phoenix Royal City, which had been expanded tenfold, could accommodate more than 10 million people. However, the population was only less than 2 million. The Dragon Phoenix Dynasty urgently needed a large number of people, experts, and mercenary groups to live in the city. Moreover, they were given very good treatment. This was a very good opportunity for many outsiders. The spiritual energy and safety of the Dragon Phoenix Imperial City was not something that other cities could compare to. Furthermore, joining the Dragon Phoenix Dynasty would bring great benefits. If one had the strength, one could even become an official. This made many people extremely tempted. The members of the mercenary group from the surrounding countries excitedly asked for information one by one. As for the experts and sect experts from other countries, they did not bother with them and continued to walk in. Although the spiritual energy in the Dragon Phoenix Royal City was more abundant, and it was much safer compared to other royal cities, it wasn't very attractive to those who had powerful families. Their families and sects also had their own formations, so the spiritual energy was even more abundant than the spiritual energy in the Dragon Phoenix Royal City. However, Feng Yuan didn't expect the families with the profound void martial artist to settle down in the Dragon Phoenix Royal City, so she didn't care about their thoughts. So many people. When Wang Xian was walking on the brand new road, his gaze swept across the surroundings. His face was filled with astonishment. When Wang Xian came a few days ago, the number of people in the entire royal city of Dragon and Phoenix was still very small. In just a few days, there were at least hundreds of thousands of people who came here. Looks like this auction is still very attractive. Wang Xian revealed a faint smile and quickened his pace as he walked towards the location of the auction house. The auction house was located at the newly built eastern district of the Dragon and Phoenix Royal City. The entire auction house occupied an area of 2,000 meters. The huge auction house could accommodate 50,000 to 60,000 people. The scale of this auction house was already considered rare. Chapter 1174. Everyone had to follow the rules here. Feng Yuan had spent a lot of effort for this auction. It was a huge auction house. As for the items that were being auctioned, they were rare treasures. Among them, the most precious one was Wang Xian's demon beast bloodline of the first level of the see-through void tier, followed by the half-step see-through void tier demon beast bloodline. Other than these two bloodlines, there were also weapons and elixirs of the see-through void tier. In addition, in order to attract the top-notch experts of the Transcendence realm, Feng Yuan took out over 100 sets of half-step see-through void tier and 9th-level Transcendence set weapons. All of them were top-notch sets. Apart from the set weapons, there were also various top-notch elixirs of the Transcendence realm that were sent over by the Fire Cloud Sparrow clan. A total of several thousand items had been auctioned off. It was also because of so many treasures that they were able to attract so many experts. HMPH, He dares to establish a dynasty on his own with just a small city. How arrogant. At the east entrance of the Dragon Phoenix Imperial City, 7 to 8 youths rode on the 4-meter-long Thunder Leopard and entered the Dragon Phoenix Imperial City. In the center, a fiery red-haired youth saw the recruitment at the entrance and revealed a cold expression. Hee hee. The city protection array in the Dragon Phoenix Royal City cannot be compared to many royal cities. Furthermore, the scale of this auction is so large that this dynasty is not simple. Beside the fiery red-haired youth, a skinny girl sized up the surroundings and commented with a smile. What's so special about a small place? The fiery red-haired youth revealed a cold expression, his face full of disdain. Hee hee, Xing Tianyi. This place seems to have once been the domain of your Star Moon Kingdom. A youth in front turned his head and said with a slight sneer. A small town is nothing to our Star Moon Kingdom. Xing Tian's expression darkened, and he said nothing more with a cold expression. Roar, roar. Right at this moment, the low roars of fierce beasts suddenly sounded from behind them. Afu! The 7 to 8 young men, sitting on the howler leopards, let out a low roar. They were clearly a little frightened. It was as if they had met their natural enemy. Haha! Everyone from the 6 Element sect, long time no see. At this moment, a provocative voice sounded from behind. It's that bunch of bastards from the Fong clan. The faces of the youths riding on the Thunder Leopard darkened as they looked behind them coldly. You bunch of fellows are really stubborn. Didn't you just cripple one of your clansmen? Why are you so persistent? The youth leading the group turned his head and saw the group of 5 behind him with a cold expression. Du Feichen, be careful with your words. Otherwise, it won't be good if I bump into you when you're alone. The 5 of them slowly walked over on their thunder-devouring beasts. They stared coldly at the young man at the front and said coldly, You really think I'm afraid of you? Du Fei, who was sitting at the front, stared at the 5 of them darkly. Fong clan, you really think we're afraid of you? Pay attention here. Xing Tian, he looked at the 5 of them and coldly said, Here, if I'm not wrong, this place is the Dragon Phoenix Empire. What does it have to do with you, Xing Tianyi? Haha. I heard that this place was once the territory of your Star Moon Kingdom, but it was directly taken down by someone. Haha. The youth at the back of the group of 5 suddenly spoke with ridicule, his eyes filled with ridicule. You. Xing Tian's expression changed slightly, and he stared at him with an embarrassed expression. What? Haha. I came to take a look at the domain of your Star Moon Kingdom. Ah, it seems to be even better than your Star Moon Kingdom's Imperial City. As that youth spoke, he laughed loudly. Riding on the lightning-devouring beast, he directly charged forward, his laughter spreading far and wide. The other 4 youths also looked at him with a mocking expression, directly surpassing the 8 of them, as they headed towards the location of the auction. Damnable fellows! Xing Tian's face revealed a trace of anger. His body moved slightly, and the Hule leopard that he was sitting on also increased its speed. These fellows from the Fong clan really think that we are afraid of them. The other youths also had ugly expressions, and also increased their speed. The roads of the Dragon Phoenix Royal City were very wide. There were also sidewalks, carriage paths, and beast riding paths. The beast riding path was very wide. It was nearly 20 meters wide, enough for 4 to 5 meters, or even larger beasts to run. However, under normal circumstances, it was forbidden to ride beasts quickly in the city. There are so many mounts. Each and every one of them is simply too powerful. Over the past 2 days, there have been too many terrifying experts coming to our Dragon Phoenix Royal City. There are even many mercenary groups inquiring about our living conditions here. It seems that they want to join our Dragon Phoenix Royal City. This is all thanks to Her Majesty the Queen. I heard that soon, our Dragon Phoenix Royal City will have many new citizens. Within the Dragon Phoenix Royal City, the citizens looked at the mercenary groups of experts from various countries in the Luhai region on the streets and revealed smiles on their faces. Especially those beast mounts. Even though they were exuding a powerful aura, they still caused many citizens to stare at them curiously. I wonder how many spirit stones my pet eggs and bloodline can sell for. These spirit stones can be used to upgrade the Dragon Palace. Wang Xian stood in front of the huge auction house and looked at the auction house that was 30 meters tall. A smile appeared on his face. He didn't plan to use the spirit stones for this auction. Instead, he wanted to use all of them to upgrade the power of the Dragon Palace. As for the improvement of his level, he would think of a way in the future. Lower your speed. Please lower the speed of your ferocious beasts. At this moment, Wang Xian suddenly heard a stern voice. The voice sounded familiar. Haha, you are trash from the Six Elements sect. You are still a little weak. At this moment an arrogant voice was heard. Roar, roar. Following that, the roar of a ferocious beast was heard. However, along with the roar of the fierce beast, a miserable cry was heard. And the fierce beast lost control and hit someone. That is, it's the young pride of the Six Element sect and the Fong clan. It's them. I didn't expect that they would come as well. Void interpretation level bloodlines, half-step void interpretation level pet eggs, and that set of equipment are all extremely attractive to them. The voices of people conversing could be heard from the surroundings. Most of the people around the auction house were from other countries. Many of them came from the graveyard of the demi-humans. They immediately recognized the group of young men. Wang Xian looked over and immediately saw a group of young men riding on ferocious beasts. At the sidewalk, a middle-aged man was lying on the ground with blood all over his face. His entire body was black. It was obvious that the ferocious beasts that had lost control had accidentally rushed to the sidewalk and attacked the pedestrians at the side. The berserk beast has injured someone. Quickly ride your mount in our Dragon Phoenix Imperial City. Come down and follow us to the City Lord's mansion. In the middle of the road, Feng Lingtian and Lu Qing, who had obtained the bloodline of the demon beasts of the Wendai clan, led a group of city guards and shouted at Xing Tianyi, and the rest with a solemn expression. Chapter 1175. Anyone here had to follow the rules. Trash, you can't even control your own beast. Trash is trash. You can't even control your own mount. What a disgrace to the Six Element sect. The sudden incident on the street in front of the auction attracted everyone's attention. When the 5 Fong clan youths saw the city guards staring at them coldly, they mocked Xing Tianyi with disdain. You guys! Xing Tianyi's face was filled with anger as he coldly swept his gaze across the 5 of them. Get down immediately. Feng Lingtian and Lu Qing stared at Xing Tianyi, who was riding on the Thunder Leopard, and warned him coldly. Their gazes swept across the other young men and similarly shouted, You guys get down too. City guards, we didn't bump into anyone. Only trash would be unable to control their mounts properly and bump into people. A few youths from the Fong clan sat on top with smiles on their faces as they spoke to Feng Lingtian and the others. When Xing Tian heard their words, his expression turned slightly malevolent. Old who not good, his injuries are very serious. This Thunder Leopard is a rank 9 transcendent beast. Old who's cultivation is only at rank 8 transcendent. Even if he were to be touched by it, he would be severely injured. Damn it, city guards, you have to stand up for us brothers. We were walking fine here, but we were directly attacked by his beast. At the side, 3 young men had ugly expressions. They glared at Xing Tianyi with anger as they growled. On the ground, the middle-aged man's vitality was extremely weak. The middle-aged men gave him several pills consecutively, but they were only able to alleviate some of his injuries. All of you shut up. He didn't dare to say anything about the Fong clan's taunts, but these trash mercenary group members before him dared to shout at him. They were courting death. What? So arrogant? This fellow is so arrogant. His own vicious beast bumped into someone, and he still dares to be so arrogant. Shall all of you keep your voices down? Their group is riding an extraordinary 9th grade vicious beast. And look at the clothes on their bodies. Disciples of the Six Element sect, don't look for trouble. Some of the surrounding people were a little angry when they saw Xing Tianyi's arrogant manner. However, most of them were watching from the side. This matter concerned the disciples of the Six-Element sect. This was not something that they could interfere with. The Six-Element sect was a sect that was even more powerful than many kingdoms. The one who will shut up is you. Immediately follow us to the City Lord's mansion. Otherwise, don't blame our Dragon and Phoenix Empire for being impolite. When Feng Lingtian saw how arrogant he was, his expression became a little awkward. Was he looking down on them? Didn't we just bump into a piece of trash? Here, get out of our sight immediately. Otherwise, don't blame me for being impolite. Xing Tian glanced at Feng Lingtian with a cold expression. With a move of his arm, drops of liquid that contained terrifying spiritual energy appeared in his hand. There was a total of 5 drops, and each drop of the spiritual liquid gave off a white luster that filled a radius of 1 meter. With a wave of his arm, he threw it directly at the middle-aged man who was lying on the ground. Spiritual liquid, it's spiritual liquid, the spiritual liquid from the Ladyboy graveyard. Hiss, 5 drops of spiritual liquid is equivalent to over 1 million middle-grade spiritual stones. The middle-aged men were stunned as they looked at the 5 drops of spiritual liquid. "Ooh, we don't lack this spirit liquid. Take it. Otherwise, if you don't have the spirit liquid, you'll lose your life." A middle-aged man looked at the spirit liquid and stared at Xing Tianyi with a dark expression. However, before he could finish his words, a young man from the Six-Element sect glanced at him disdainfully and warned him indifferently. "Take it and get lost. If you're not satisfied, come to the demi-human graveyard and look for our Six-Element sect." A Six-Element sect girl said with a smile. Six-Element sect. The middle-aged men's pupils contracted slightly as they looked at each other. They picked up the 5 drops of spirit liquid with an embarrassed expression and helped the injured middle-aged man up. Feng Lingtian and Lu Qing frowned as they looked at the injured middle-aged man. "Scram, we want to participate in the auction held by your country. Why? Do you still want to arrest us?" Xing Tianyi saw that the city guards were still surrounding them and shouted at them angrily. "Immediately call the soldiers of the Dragon and Phoenix army over." Feng Lingtian and Lu Qing looked at each other and said to a city guard at the side. After they finished speaking, they looked at Xing Tianyi and said, "If you violate the rules of our Dragon and Phoenix Empire, you will have to pay the price. We have already settled this matter. What more do you troublesome fellows want?" Xing Tianyi frowned and stared at the 2 of them coldly. "Chase them out immediately." At this moment Wang Xian, who was standing at the side, walked over. He looked at the injured middle-aged man and the 5 drops of spiritual liquid beside the middle-aged man. His eyes were burning with passion. He turned to Xing Tianyi and said coldly, "Brother-in-law, Lord Wang." When Feng Lingtian, Lu Qing, and the rest saw Wang Xian, their eyes were filled with respect as they shouted hurriedly. Wang Xian nodded his head slowly. He looked at the 8 people from the Six-Elements sect and the 5 people from the Fang clan. "Chase them all out and forbid them from entering the city," he said directly. "What?" Xing Tianyi and the rest were slightly stunned. Their expressions turned cold instantly. Even the 5 people from the Fang clan were slightly stunned. Their expressions turned grim slowly. "Chase us out? Your Dragon and Phoenix Empire dares to chase us out?" A young man from the Six-Elements sect stared at Wang Xian coldly. "Why wouldn't they dare?" Wang Xian laughed mockingly. Haha, all right. We will stand here. I want to see how you will chase us out." Just as Wang Xian finished his words, Xing Tian, who was at the side, laughed out loud. His eyes were filled with mockery. They were disciples of the Six-Elements sect. He was also the prince of the Star Moon Kingdom. He wanted to see how a small place like this would dare to chase them out. Wang Xian shook his head slowly. Whoosh! At this moment, Wang Xian's figure moved. With a terrifying speed, he appeared beside Xing Tianyi in an instant. A terrifying force landed on his body. Xing Tianyi didn't expect Wang Xian to attack him directly. His face was filled with shock. However, at this moment he had no time to dodge. Roar! Roar! The thunder leopard, who was sitting on his seat, saw Wang Xian attacking his master. His eyes were filled with killing intent. Bang! However, when Wang Xian's palm landed on Xing Tiany's body, his palm also landed directly on the ground. Roar! Roar! The terrifying physical strength landed on the thunder leopard. This extraordinary level 9 ferocious beast let out a blood-curdling scream. Its head was smashed into pieces. The Dragon and Phoenix Empire welcomes any friend to come, but they do not welcome anyone who does not abide by the rules. According to the rules of the Dragon and Phoenix Royal City, ferocious beasts will lose control and attack people in the city. They will kill the ferocious beasts and expel their owners. Wang Xian's indifferent voice rang out. Meanwhile, Xing Tiany's body landed heavily on the ground. The powerful force caused him to spit out a mouthful of blood. Chapter 1176, On Target Tomb. What? When Wang Xian made his move, it took less than a second for him to finish it. The other 7 young men from the 6 Element sect had just reacted when they saw Xing Tian landing heavily on the ground not far away and spitting out blood. As for the thunder leopard under his crotch, it fell to the ground without any signs of life. All of them had shocked expressions on their faces. Everyone around them gasped when they saw this scene. What powerful strength! Hiss! He killed the Hule leopard who was at level 9 of the extraordinaire in an instant, and severely injured the proud son of a level 9 extraordinaire. His strength is so strong. There were at least tens of thousands of people gathered around the auction house. They looked at Wang Xian with fear in their eyes. He should be at the half-step void interpretation realm. He is so young and already has such great strength. He is considered a favored son of the heavens in the flowing sea region. I wonder if he can be ranked in the top 10. In a restaurant beside the street, an old man in white stroked his beard and said with admiration in his eyes, Top 10? How can such an elite young man be in a small Dragon Phoenix empire? Master, is he a bloodline cultivator or an ordinary cultivator? At the side, a man and a woman looked at Wang Xian and asked the old man. Judging from his qi and blood, he should be a bloodline cultivator. I just don't know what bloodline he has. The old man said with a smile. Oh, so he's a bloodline cultivator. When the man and woman heard the middle-aged man's words, they shook their heads slowly and didn't take him seriously. Hee. The old man also smiled faintly and looked away. The orthodox cultivators instinctively looked down on bloodline cultivators. Bloodline cultivators had the limitations of their bloodlines. Once they reached the peak of their bloodlines, they would not be able to make any progress in the future. However, for the truly blessed and ambitious experts, bloodlines were only the path chosen by the weak. The truly powerful ones would choose an endless great Tao, and only this path would allow them to stand at the peak of the extraordinary continent. Furthermore, in the current flowing sea region, the highest level of bloodline was the 4th level of the profound void tier. As for those with higher bloodlines, there were none. Although the 4th level of the profound void tier was strong, it wasn't very high for those talented and ambitious experts. Therefore, they instinctively disdained bloodline cultivators. Bloodline heaven's favorites could not be called heaven's favorites. How dare you attack the disciples of our 6 Element sect? I think you are courting death. The other 7 young men from the 6 Element sect reacted and quickly walked to Xing Tiany's side. Their eyes were filled with killing intent as they stared at Wang Xian. A place has its own rules. In the Dragon and Phoenix Empire, you have to abide by the rules of the Dragon and Phoenix Empire. You will not be able to trample on you just because you are the 6 Element sect. Wang Xian stared coldly at the young men from the 6 Element sect. Young Master Wang. Young Master Wang. At this moment, soldiers flew over one by one. Among them were 2 generals who were at the half-step void interpretation level. They greeted Wang Xian respectfully when they saw him. Although Wang Xian didn't have any position in the Dragon and Phoenix Empire, everyone knew that he had a close relationship with their queen. Even Mang Hong, Yin Wenshan and the rest had to address him as young master respectfully. Throw them out. Wang Xian nodded and said to the soldiers. It's young Master Wang. More than 10 soldiers nodded and stared coldly at the 8 people from the Six Elements sect. Are we going to throw you out? Or are you going to leave by yourselves? A general stared at them and said expressionlessly, Dragon Phoenix Dynasty, good, very good. The 8 youths from the Six Elements sect had extremely ugly expressions. They had come all the way here to buy some weapons and medicinal pills. In the end, they were directly chased out, wasting half a month of their time. This caused their expressions to be extremely ugly, especially since the other party didn't give the Six Elements sect any face. It made them even angrier. Being stared at by the experts from the Dragon and Phoenix army, the 8 people from the Six Elements sect looked extremely embarrassed. They helped Xing Tianyi up and sat on the spirit beast. Then they headed out with a gloomy face. If they want to be punished according to the rules of the city, if they don't accept the punishment, they can leave. Wang Xian turned to look at the 5 people from the Fang clan, and said with a calm face. When the 5 young men from the Fang clan saw the 8 people from the Six Elements sect being chased out, their expressions changed slightly. They did not expect that a small Dragon Phoenix empire would actually dare to chase out the disciples of the Six Elements sect. This was the powerful Six Elements sect. Although they were not the core disciples, they still represented the Six Elements sect. Haha, this brother is really amazing. We will accept the punishment. These 10 drops of spiritual liquid will be the price we have to pay for our recklessness in the Dragon Phoenix Empire. A young man standing in the middle suddenly laughed out loud. With a wave of his arm, the 10 drops of spiritual liquid flew into Wang Xian's hands. As he spoke, he cupped his hands at the soldiers. I hope everyone can abide by the rules of the Dragon and Phoenix Empire. Although the Dragon and Phoenix Empire is small, it is definitely not something that can be trampled on by just anyone. Wang Xian nodded his head faintly and gestured to the soldiers. Of course. The young man from the Fang clan nodded his head with a smile. After the group of soldiers left, the 5 young men from the Fang clan also left with smiles on their faces. Although the Dragon and Phoenix Empire did not give face to the Fang clan, the 8 people from the Six Elements sect were in an even worse state. When they thought of the 8 of them, the 5 people from the Fang clan laughed instead. Brother-in-law is still the best. Sir. Feng Lingtian and Lu Qing walked over and said to him in a fawning manner. All right, cultivate well. In the future, none of you need to be afraid. Wang Xian said to Feng Lingtian with a smile. Don't worry, brother-in-law. I cultivate all night every night. It won't be long before I can become a powerhouse that can shake the entire region. Feng Lingtian said confidently. All right, you guys can continue your patrol. Wang Xian nodded with a smile. He looked at the spiritual liquid in his hand, and his eyes sparkled. All right, brother-in-law. Feng Lingtian left with a smile. Lord Wang is still so domineering. Hee. No matter what your identity is, you have to abide by the rules here when you come to our Dragon and Phoenix Empire. Lord Wang rarely appears in the city during this period of time. I don't know what he is doing. It would be great if Lord Wang could become a high-ranking official in our Dragon and Phoenix Empire. In the surroundings, some citizens of the Dragon and Phoenix Empire looked at Wang Xian's figure and spoke respectfully. Some people from other countries sized up Wang Xian in astonishment. To possess such strength at such a young age was extremely rare, even in their country. At this moment, Wang Xian looked at the spiritual liquid in his hand and made a decision in his heart. Spiritual liquid. 700 dragon crystals can be extracted from dragon energy. This drop of spiritual liquid was equivalent to swallowing an extraordinary level 7 aquatic creature. It was equivalent to the dragon spike accepting a mission to assassinate an extraordinary level 5 powerhouse. Now that he needed more than 100 million dragon crystals to level up, the spiritual liquid was a good choice. Chapter 1177. Target, Underground of the Human Demon Graveyard. Currently, the resources required for Wang Xian to level up were too huge. If he were to devour the ferocious beasts and demonic beasts in the ocean, he would need more than 200,000 level 7 extraordinary ferocious beasts and demonic beasts. What kind of concept was this? This was simply impossible. Before he could devour so many level 7 extraordinary ferocious beasts, he might encounter an even more terrifying existence that would devour him. A few days ago, when Wang Xian found out about the human demon graveyard, he was a little tempted. However, Wang Xian did not confirm it at that time, because the human demon graveyard was at least 10 days away from the Dragon Phoenix Royal City. He had to travel through many places along the way, and it was very dangerous. Moreover, once he went out, he would need at least half a year, or even a year, to return. This caused him to hesitate slightly. However, when he saw the spiritual liquid, Wang Xian made up his mind. He had to go out and explore. Furthermore, he had to go out and explore by himself. His current strength was close to the first level of the see-through void tier. In the Dragon Palace, even Ao Yao was far inferior to him. Bringing Ao Yao and the rest along wouldn't be of much use. Now it would be better for the Dragon Spur and the Dragon Palace to develop independently. Let's set off immediately. It's decided then. Wang Xian made a prompt decision. He looked at the auction house that had already opened its doors and didn't enter. Let's go and bid them farewell, Wang Xian thought to himself, and immediately walked towards Feng Wan's location. He didn't need to bid farewell to Zhang Fengying anymore. A month ago, Zhang Fengying sent him a message saying that she was going out to explore. Then she disappeared. Have you really decided to go to the tomb of the demi-human? It's extremely dangerous there. In the mayor's residence, Feng Wan frowned as she looked at Wang Xian and spoke to him. I've decided. Currently, I need too many resources to increase my cultivation level. I have to go out and explore. Wang Xian nodded his head heavily at Feng Wan. The development of the dragon spike was reaching a bottleneck. Even if it could occupy the assassin market of 1 or 2 countries, it was still not enough for him to increase his level. Therefore, he had to solve the problem of resources on his own. All right. Feng Wan looked at him and nodded with a frown. Xu Qing and the Dragon Palace would like you to take care of them during this period of time. The spiritual stones for the auction will be handed over to Prime Minister Gui. Wang Xian continued speaking to her. Why are you in such a hurry to leave? I have been in the Dragon Palace for more than 2 months. There's nothing much to do here. You should leave as soon as possible. Wang Xian smiled and said to her. All right, you must return safely. Feng Wan looked at him and said seriously. Don't worry. Wang Xian smiled and nodded. He waved at her and flew into the Dragon Palace. Prime Minister Gui, I will be going on a long trip for the next period of time. I will be back in half a year or more. I will leave the matters of the Dragon Palace to you. Wang Xian returned to the Dragon Palace and instructed Prime Minister Gui. It's the Dragon King. Don't worry. With the presence of leader Mu Zixin of the Eye of the Wind tribe, our Dragon Palace's strength is not weak. Prime Minister Gui replied respectfully immediately. Yes, you can discuss with the civil officials about all the developments. Also, if you have any questions, you can look for Feng Wan. Wang Xian nodded and continued to talk to him. He then instructed a few more questions. Prime Minister Gui listened by the side and memorized them one by one. After Wang Xian had given his instructions, he went to the Dragon Palace and interrupted the cultivation of a few girls. Then he told them about it. Although the few girls were reluctant to leave, they did not try to persuade them to stay. They were also prepared to enter deep cultivation after Wang Xian left. The talents of the girls were all stronger than the members of the Dragon Palace. Their abilities were improving very quickly. Wang Xian walked in the sky above the Dragon Palace and looked down at the huge palace. It's a pity that the level of the 9 dragons is too low. They can't pull themselves to fly in the sky, Wang Xian thought to himself as he scanned the entire Dragon Palace. The Dragon Palace was relatively spacious. There were only about 3,000 members in the Dragon Palace, which covered an area of 80 kilometers. It was indeed relatively small. It was only a little livelier at the north gate of the Dragon Palace. There was a strange race here. It was also a race that Wang Xian had neglected the last time. The Killer Crab Race. Ever since they subdued the leader of the Killer Crab Race, the Killer Crab Race had been staying in the Dragon Palace. Now there were more than 20,000 killer crabs in total. They could enter the body of the leader of the killer crabs, Ao Crab. When they were migrating to the Dragon Palace, Ao Crab was laying eggs in the Dragon Palace. Hence, he did not increase his strength. At present, Ao Crab was only at level 3 of the Extraordinary Realm. However, he had more than 20,000 subordinates. The killer crabs were similar to the Zerg race. Wang Xian placed them in the Dragon Palace and allowed them to cultivate freely. He swept his gaze across the Dragon Palace and flew into the distance. After dashing out of the ocean, Wang Xian flew a few thousand meters into the air with a map in his hand. This was a map of the flowing sea region that Feng Wuan had given him. The map was not very clear. There was only a rough location of the kingdom. However, this was enough. I'll go out and explore on my own. Haha, it's been a long time since I've had such an exciting feeling. Wang Xian's eyes were filled with excitement. This made him feel the same kind of excitement as when he had just obtained the Divine Dragon system to explore the ocean. Flying at a height of a few thousand meters, the Dragon Phoenix Royal City below was getting smaller and smaller. Wang Xian's figure moved and his speed suddenly increased. The vast and extraordinary continent appeared in front of his eyes. It was just like when Wang Xian first came to the vast ocean. Everywhere he went was filled with novelty. He kept flying forward. With Wang Xian's current strength that surpassed that of an extraordinary, his flying speed had increased by a lot. In an hour, he could fly for about 1,000 kilometers. However, the area of the extraordinary continent was more than 100 times that of Earth. Just the area of the flowing ocean was many times larger than Earth. After flying for 5 hours, Wang Xian had already left the territory of Star Moon Kingdom and arrived at another dynasty. Below him, a city was rapidly passing by. Compared to the cities inhabited by humans, the area of the wilderness was hundreds or thousands of times larger than the cities inhabited by humans. Ferocious beasts were rampant and demonic beasts were wreaking havoc. The entire supernatural continent looked extremely desolate. The number of humans was probably less than 1/10 of 1/10 of 1/10 of 1/10 of the number of ferocious beasts. Chirp chirp. At this moment, the chirping of birds and beasts suddenly came from the front. The sound was extremely loud and resonated throughout the entire sky. At the bottom, the ferocious beasts hurriedly hid. Wang Xian narrowed his eyes slightly and looked ahead. It was a group of birds and beasts that were completely red in color and emitting flames. There were more than 200 flaming birds. Each of them was about 7 to 8 meters in size. The average strength of these birds was around level 8 of the supernatural realm. The flaming bird in the middle had the strength of level 9 of the supernatural realm. Chapter 1178. The strength of the combination combat technique had increased greatly. It's extremely dangerous to cross a few cities in the wild without the strength of a level 9 extraordinary. Without the strength of a void interpretation realm expert, it's simply courting death to fly in the sky. Wang Xian recalled what Feng Wuan had said to him back then. Now it seemed that it was true. Those outstanding young men, who came from the graveyard of demi-humans and demons, were all riding on mounts that were good at running on land. There were no flying mounts at all. This was because it was very easy to encounter groups of birds and beasts while flying in the sky. Once they encountered them, it would be difficult to deal with them without a powerhouse at the profound void tier. Wang Xian did not dodge when he saw the flaming birds and beasts flying towards him. His body shook and numerous ice swords appeared around him. Each ice sword emitted a cold glow under the sunlight. Go! Wang Xian saw a huge heat wave charging towards him. With a wave of his arm, the numerous water swords charged towards the group of flaming birds. Chirp 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 chirp. When the flying birds saw the terrifying ice swords, they let out rapid sounds. However, the difference between this group of flaming bird beasts and Wang Xian was too great. The ice sword was so cold that it pierced through the bodies of the flaming bird beasts easily. It's a pity that I can only increase my dragon energy by devouring aquatic creatures. Other creatures can't. Wang Xian flew over quickly and stored all the corpses of the flaming bird beasts into his interspatial ring. Without any hesitation, he flew towards the direction of the human demon graveyard once again. Wang Xian did not stop for even a second. With his current strength and the body of the divine dragon, flying at a high speed in the sky did not consume too much energy. If he continued flying like this, he would be able to last for at least a month. As he continued to fly, Wang Xian flew for another 4 to 5 hours. Halfway through, he encountered 2 waves of bird attacks and was easily killed by him. Boom, boom, boom. Suddenly, Wang Xian was attracted by the rumbling sound coming from the front. When he looked over, he was stunned. At the lake below, 3 species of ferocious beasts were fighting. A type of water-type ferocious beast that was similar to a hippo was fighting 2 wind-type and fire-type ferocious beasts. The number of hippo-like ferocious beasts was about double that of the other 2 ferocious beasts. In terms of strength, they were also much stronger than the other 2 ferocious beasts. However, what surprised Wang Xian was that the hippo-like ferocious beast was in a disadvantageous position at this moment. This is wind-aided fire? When Wang Xian saw that the wind elemental and fire elemental ferocious beasts were actually working together, he revealed a look of surprise. Wind aided the fire. The wind-type beasts use special techniques to increase the attack power of the fire-type beasts by about 50 to 60%. Looking at the battle below, Wang Xian gave it some thought. During the rest of the flight, Wang Xian slowed down and began to practice his control of the 5 elements energy. Practicing the individual control and combined attack of the 5 elements was the inspiration he got from the 2 groups of beasts. Of the 2 groups of fierce beasts, one was of the fire element, and the other was of the wind element. The wind aided the fire, and could make the fire attack even more terrifying. It could make the wind carry fire and greatly increase the attack power. This made him fall into deep thought, thinking of the ancient books he had read in the Demon Hunter's Academy. The learning ability of humans was the strongest among all living creatures. In the Transcendence stage, apart from everyone's trump cards and divine abilities, some forces that had a great foundation also had all kinds of combat skills. Combat techniques combined combat techniques. Supernatural powers were evolved from combat techniques that had reached the acme of perfection. If one was able to cultivate one combat technique after another and combine them together, they would be able to unleash a power that was not inferior to supernatural powers. In fact, Wang Xian had also used the combination of 2 attributes. For example, the combination of the fire dragon's flame and the descent of the wood world could unleash an even more terrifying attack. He had even used the 5 attributes to amplify the attack in turn. This kind of amplification method was very crude. It could only amplify the attack by about 80 to 90%. After Wang Xian came to the extraordinary mainland, his strength had increased too quickly. Furthermore, he rarely made a move. This caused him to seldom study this kind of technique. His attack method was still at the level of Earth. Now that his level had almost reached a bottleneck, it was difficult for him to increase his strength. He could only think of ways to increase his attack power. Seeing the ferocious beasts of the 2 races, Wang Xian was enlightened. With this thought, he realized how lousy and crude his techniques were. Wang Xian was prepared to use the time when he was in the wild to practice properly. With the control of the 5 elements energy, he was able to comprehend many offensive techniques that were not inferior to supernatural powers through the interaction of the 5 elements. For example, extreme ice and fire explosion, extreme hot water sea, metal wood explosion, and so on. These offensive techniques were not inferior to the power of a single attribute divine ability. Furthermore, the consumption was very small. Bang! Wang Xian waved his arm gently. A ball of flame appeared at the tip of his finger. It was a golden needle. The 2 attributes gathered together. Under the burning of the flame, the golden needle slowly turned red. Finally, the golden needle easily penetrated through a 1-meter-sized earth alligator snapping turtle that was covered in armor. An extraordinary level 9 earth alligator snapping turtle died instantly under Wang Xian's light finger. Phew, the combined attack of the attributes is too strong. If I can combine 3, 4, or even 5 attributes together, it would be even more terrifying than my strongest dual attribute supernatural ability. Wang Xian looked at the ferocious beast that was said to have the most terrifying defense on land that died instantly. Astonishment appeared on his face. A human genius. He has the ability to fight above his level when he cultivates dual attributes. On the other hand, he has been relying on the body of the divine dragon to fight above his level with numerous supernatural powers. He has completely neglected the use of the combination of attributes. Wang Xian's eyes sparkled. According to the records of the Divine Dragon clan, the top human experts had the terrifying ability to slaughter the divine dragon. One of the reasons was their control over their attributes. If a top human expert who controlled the 5 elements were to combine the 5 attributes into a terrifying attack, he would be able to unleash an attack that was more than 10 times his original strength. It was not impossible for him to slay the dragon. If he possessed the terrifying body of the divine dragon, and his control over his attributes, coupled with the human's control over his attributes, he would be able to unleash an attack that was more than 10 times his original strength. As Wang Xian thought of this, he fell into deep thought and sat on the ground with his legs crossed. It was very easy for him to combine 2 attributes. However, it was a little difficult for him to combine the 3 attributes. He needed to control each attribute to the extreme. Buzz! After more than 10 hours, Wang Xian suddenly stood up and extended his palm. A mini mountain that was as big as a mountain appeared above his palm. The mountain peak suddenly emitted a terrifying flame. Wang Xian waved his hand gently and threw it toward a 5-meter-thick tree. Bang! When the flaming mountain peak landed on the tree, it suddenly emitted a golden glow and easily passed through the mountain peak. A huge hole appeared. Following that, the tree started to burn with a loud bang. Chapter 1179 versus the Void Interpretation Ferocious Beast. This won't do. I still can't control it well. The fire attack is overflowing. Wang Xian frowned slightly. A contemplative look appeared on his face. Following that, he shook his head slowly. I should continue on my journey. I'll think about it as I walk. Wang Xian thought to himself. Following that, a smile appeared on his face. This little bit of inspiration, and nearly 2 days of consideration and contemplation, had increased his skills by more than 10 times. The increase in his skills brought about an increase in his attacks. The current Wang Xian was more than twice as strong as him 2 days ago. Now his casual attack was several times stronger than before. I feel that even if I don't turn into a divine dragon, I still have the qualifications to fight against an insightful void martial artist. Wang Xian raised his eyebrows, and a satisfied look appeared in his eyes. He was in a great mood. He took out the map and flew forward again. The human demon graveyard was located at the center of the Luhai district. Wang Xian was only traveling about 1/5 of the distance. This was also because he had been flying for 24 hours without any rest or sleep. He continued to fly forward. This time he didn't fly at full speed. Instead, he was constantly thinking about the combination of attributes. This was especially so for one of the offensive methods he was researching, Starburst. Starburst Fire Metal, an Earth combination attack, AoE attack. It was an attack that he came up with based on the explosion of meteorites and planets. If he could come up with this Starburst, Wang Xian felt that its offensive power should not be weaker than the dual attribute divine ability of the fire territory. As he continued to fly forward, Wang Xian continued to rehearse the combination of the 3 attributes in his mind. Pagoda, pagoda, pagoda. Just as Wang Xian was thinking and flying forward, the sound of a pagoda pagoda suddenly came from the void in front of him. It was as if there was a terrifying existence stepping on the void. The sound was dull and loud. The dull sound woke Wang Xian up. He quickly looked towards the source of the sound. What's that? When Wang Xian looked to his right, his pupils contracted slightly. A look of shock appeared in his eyes. It was a ferocious beast. Its entire body was emitting purple lightning. Countless lightning bolts were densely packed within a 20-meter radius around it. With every step it took, the purple lightning bolts around it would emit a special sound. Spirit Purple Qilin. Wang Xian's eyes flickered as he looked at the void interpretation level ferocious beast that was flying towards him at a rapid speed. Hesitation appeared on his face. The Spirit Purple Qilin was a ferocious beast at the first level of the void interpretation level. It wasn't big and was only 4 meters in size. Its head was like a mythical qilin with 2 purple wings. Its body was like a lion with purple fur. If it didn't have 2 1-meter-long tusks, the Spirit Purple Qilin wouldn't look so imposing. However, the 2 huge tusks had destroyed its imposing manner, making it look ferocious and ferocious. It had a pair of purple eyes and was charging forward proudly. As a ferocious beast at the insightful void tier, very few people dared to provoke such an existence. While Wang Xian was hesitating, the Spirit Purple Qilin, which was thousands of meters away, was already walking towards him. When it saw Wang Xian in front of it, it didn't hesitate at all. It raised its head slightly and aimed its 2 huge tusks at him. Crack, crack. 2 purple tusks, which were 1 meter long, emitted purple thunderbolts that seemed to have substance as they attacked Wang Xian directly. Since I'm attacking, let's test my current strength. Wang Xian looked at the purple lightning bolts that were attacking him. His eyes were filled with a strong fighting spirit. He waved his arm, and ice and fire shot out with his fingers. Ice, which caused white fog to appear in the void, collided with the extremely hot flames. When the 2 energies, which were condensed to the extreme, collided, a terrifying explosion was produced. Boom! The 2 bolts of lightning, which were as sharp as purple fangs, dissipated instantly under the extreme explosion of ice and fire. The explosion of fire and water caused a huge white fog to rise in the air. The white fog covered an area of 1,000 meters. Wang Xian narrowed his eyes, which were flashing with light. He waved his arm, and an ocean appeared out of thin air in front of him that covered an area of 2,000 meters. The depth of the ocean was about 5 meters, and the seawater was emitting a terrifyingly high temperature. This was boiling water. Following that, Wang Xian waved his other hand again. Streams of flames entered the boiling water directly. Combination skill. Extremely hot sea of water. Roar. The Ling Zilin, which was charging towards Wang Xian, let out a painful scream the moment it came into contact with the extremely hot sea of water. Its body was instantly covered by thick purple lightning bolts. Terrifying bolts of lightning struck towards the extremely hot water sea. With each attack, a large area of the extremely hot water sea dissipated. Explode! Boom boom boom! Wang Xian instantly converted the water energy, turning it from extremely hot to extremely cold. The flames collided with the extremely cold and let out a terrifying explosion sound again. This time, the explosion covered an area of about 2 kilometers. The terrifying explosion caused Ling Zilin's body to fly backward. The terrifying energy left a long scar on his head. Good. The attack power of the combination skill can completely threaten a ferocious beast at the first level of the see-through realm. If I transform into a divine dragon, this fellow might not be my match. Wang Xian looked at Ling Zilin, who was sent flying backward, and revealed an excited expression. Roar! However, at this moment, Ling Zilin revealed a ferocious expression. A human who looked like an ant to him was actually able to injure him lightly. Ling Zilin was extremely furious. His entire body condensed into a terrifying lightning bolt, which covered the surroundings like a 10-meter-long terrifying lightning beast. Its body moved and turned into rays of purple light. In an instant, it attacked Wang Xian. This should be the supernatural ability of the Spirit Purple Qilin. Wang Xian focused his mind slightly With a move of his arm, the lightning struck wood appeared in his hand. Golden wood explosion. He pointed with his arm, and a wooden spear that was emitting golden rays of light went straight for it. It exploded in front of the spirit purple Qilin, and golden rays of light attacked it. Crack! Crack! Roar! Roar! However, when his attack landed on the purple lightning around Ling Zilin, the golden light couldn't penetrate it at all. Wang Xian's expression changed slightly. He looked at Ling Zilin, who was charging at him with a loud roar. He quickly raised his arm. Earth Dragon Shield. Bang! The Divine Dragon Earth Dragon Shield was released. However, it collapsed instantly under Ling Zilin's attack. His body moved, and he hurriedly dodged to the side. The Wood Realm descends bind. Fire Dragon Flame burn. His expression didn't change, and he instantly cast 2 divine abilities. The Wood Realm appeared above Ling Zilin's head, and the flames instantly burned. This wasn't a perfect combination of divine abilities, but it could still increase the power of the divine ability by 20 to 30%. Roar! However, when the Wood Realm descended and surrounded the spirit purple Qilin, it opened its mouth and raised its head to roar. The surrounding purple lightning started to spin, and all the trees instantly disappeared. Only the flame of the fire dragon landed on the spirit purple Qilin's body, causing the surrounding purple lightning to immediately disappear. Chapter 1180. During the battle against the void interpretation ferocious beast. Roar! The purple lightning on the spirit purple unicorn's body disappeared, but it did not stop its monstrous flames. Layers of lightning swirled around it, making it look extremely mystical. Boom! At this moment the void exploded. Its speed was increased by more than twice, and it attacked Wang Xian like a bolt of lightning. Earth Burial Entanglement. Wang Xian took a deep breath and shook his arms. The earthy yellow energy and the green wood attribute energy were directed forward. The earthy yellow mist that covered 100 meters was directly in front of him. When the spirit purple Qilin rushed over, thorns grew rapidly in the earthy yellow space. Earth and wood countered each other and attacked each other. Under this kind of attack, the thorns connected to every single grain of soil in an instant. Under the counteraction of these chaotic attributes, they formed a dense cage made of thorns. This cage covered the spirit Zilin directly. The earth burial entwining force was doubled under the burst of energy from the counteraction of the 2 attributes. The tough thorns completely wrapped around the spirit Zilin. Roar! The spirit Zilin flapped its wings violently, and the thorns were cut off by its sharp wings. However, during this period of time, Wang Xian had already restrained Ling Zilin for a few seconds. Gold Crack Void. Without any hesitation, Wang Xian released his metal-type divine ability once again. The terrifying golden glow seemed to pierce through the void. In an instant, it landed on Ling Zilin's body. Ow! Ling Zilin let out a painful cry once again, and immediately broke free from the encirclement of the earth burial. A half-meter deep wound appeared on his abdomen, and bright red blood flowed out slowly. Wang Xian retreated hurriedly and exhaled slightly. The continuous attacks were either combined elemental attacks or supernatural powers. Each attack could easily kill a half-step void interpretation level powerhouse. When I'm in my human form, I have to use a combination attack or supernatural powers to deal with a first-stage void interpretation level powerhouse. Otherwise, I can't hurt a void interpretation level powerhouse at all. Furthermore, I can't let a void interpretation expert get close to me. Otherwise, my defense won't be able to withstand it. Wang Xian analyzed the battle just now and looked at Ling Zilin, who was attacking him again. He took a deep breath. Water Tomb. He waved his arms again, and an ocean appeared in front of Ling Zilin. Earlier, he had used earth and wood to create a strong binding domain. At this moment, Wang Xian had used water and wood to create a strong binding domain once again. The moment Ling Zilin was covered by the ocean water, countless thorns grew out from the surroundings and covered it once again. Water Hazard Explosion. Once again, Wang Xian unleashed his supernatural ability. Ling Zilin, who was trapped in the water tomb, was directly covered by his supernatural ability. Roar, roar, roar. After continuously attacking, the spirit purple Qilin, that had been suppressed all this while let out an angry roar. Its purple fur directly exploded, and purple lightning flowed on its fur, that was dozens of centimeters long. The surrounding water energy was directly evaporated. Roar! The spirit purple Qilin let out a roar, and densely packed lightning bolts that were like golden needles covered the surrounding area. The terrifying purple lightning bolts covered an area of 2 to 3 kilometers. It was a completely indiscriminate attack. Wang Xian's expression changed drastically. Dragon scales appeared all over his body. The earthy yellow soil rapidly covered his entire body. Bang! 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 The terrifying sound of the collision caused Wang Xian's body to tremble. Roar! At this moment, the furious Ling Zilin let out a roar. All the lightning and golden needles condensed into a terrifying lightning bolt that pierced through Wang Xian. Let's give it a try. Wang Xian took a deep breath. His eyes narrowed slightly as 3 types of energy, gold, fire and earth, appeared in front of him instantly. The 3 types of energy rapidly condensed into a small mountain about 1 meter in size and attacked straight ahead. Fire creates earth, earth creates gold. Earth creates gold, and fire suppresses gold. The soil wrapped the gold in the middle, and the terrifying flames burned the earth attribute outside. Under such circumstances, the 3 unstable attributes were like an unstable planet. Star explosion was a very feasible attack method that Wang Xian felt was a fusion of the 3 attributes. Once it was unleashed, it could definitely be comparable to the attack of the Divine Dragon Queen. Buzz! However, the moment Wang Xian unleashed his attack, the condensed attack became restless. Oh no, I failed. His expression changed drastically as he moved his body. Roar! A dragon's roar came from his mouth. His terrifying 50-meter-long body retreated rapidly. Boom! Before the star explosion's attack could meet the spirit purple Qilin's lightning, a terrifying explosion occurred. The terrifying explosion sent out a wave of smoke. FUCK, this is bad. His expression changed slightly. He didn't have time to defend himself, and was directly hit by the aftershock of the explosion. Streams of blood appeared around the dragon's scales at the position of the dragon's body, causing Wang Xian to feel a little numb. The lightning from the Ling Zilin dissipated directly in the explosion. So powerful. If this move can be executed perfectly, even if I don't transform into a divine dragon, I can still severely injure a powerhouse at the first level of the see-through realm. Wang Xian swayed his body, which was in pain. His body moved and excitement could be seen in his eyes. Next, it's time to see the combat strength of my dragon transformation. Roar! Wang Xian let out a dragon's roar and swayed his gigantic body, which was 50 meters long. 2 gigantic dragon claws attacked the spirit Zilin directly. The sudden transformation of Wang Xian into a divine dragon shocked the spirit Zilin beast slightly. A hint of fear could be seen in its eyes. Clearly, the 50-meter-long divine dragon body had filled the spirit Zilin beast with fear. Roar! However, when the bloodthirsty beast sensed that Wang Xian was not able to suppress it completely, it let out a wild roar and charged forward. Its purple eyes slowly turned blood red. Clearly, the spirit Zilin beast had slowly entered a berserk state. Let me show you my strength. Extreme ice and fire explosion. His 2 dragon claws, which were 7 to 8 meters in size. One was emitting a fiery red light, while the other was emitting a blue light. With a wave of his dragon claws, he directly attacked Ling Zilin. Roar! Ling Zilin directly raised his front hooves and stepped forward without the slightest bit of fear. 2 thick lightning figures that were like hooves directly charged towards the extreme ice and fire explosion. Boom! A terrifying collision resounded within a radius of tens of kilometers. The ferocious beasts below fled in fear. The collision of the void interpretation level had truly begun. Wang Xian's attack just now had only slightly injured the spirit purple Qilin. Alright, let's see how many times you can withstand my attacks. Haha. Wang Xian's face was filled with confidence. His huge dragon tail swept across. The entire flame was like a mixture of lava. It was extremely red. Drops of red liquid even dripped downwards. Divine ability, Divine Dragon Fire Tail. Chapter 1181, Beast Taming Technique. Divine Dragon's Fiery Tail. With Wang Xian's 50-meter-long figure, he used the Divine Dragon's fiery tail. The dragon's tail, which was dozens of meters long, was like a terrifying volcano as it charged straight at Ling Zilin. Roar! 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 Ling Zilin's face turned blood-red when he saw Wang Xian's terrifying dragon tail. He raised his two 1-meter-long tusks and met Wang Xian's dragon tail head-on. The two tusks were imbued with the power of thunder and lightning. Boom! The two terrifying powers collided with each other and created a shockwave. Ling Zilin's 4-meter-long body was sent flying backward. A purple trail of thunder and lightning streaked across the sky. Roar! 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 Ling Zilin, who had been suppressed all this while, shook its body. Streams of blood flowed out from the wound on its abdomen after the collision. It lifted its hooves and stepped gently into the air. Ta-ta-ta-ta! A voice that sounded like the galloping of tens of thousands of horses sounded again. It stared at Wang Xian coldly and opened its mouth. Its two 1-meter-long fangs made it look extremely ferocious. Wang Xian swayed his body. His proud dragon head stared at Ling Zilin coldly. His eyes were filled with fighting spirit. Ta-ta-ta-ta! Ling Zilin's front hooves stomped on the air once again. The concentrated sound spread to the surroundings. Crackle, crackle! Following the stomp of its front hooves, streaks of terrifying purple lightning quickly gathered under the two front hooves. Two balls of lightning gathered under the left and right front hooves. Is he going to use his virtual image to attack? Wang Xian was slightly stunned. The transformation of his supernatural ability into a virtual image was the symbol of an insightful emptiness realm expert. It was also the strongest attack technique of an insightful emptiness realm expert. Looking at the dark purple lightning gathering under its front hooves, a solemn expression appeared on his face. Roar! Wang Xian let out a soft roar, and a strong light shot out from his eyes. Then I will use you to test the power of a dual attribute supernatural ability. He opened his mouth, and a terrifying dragon flame shot out directly. Following that, the earth and yellow energy converged. Roar! The flames and the earth and yellow energy converged and slowly rose into the sky. Boom! A gigantic flaming mountain peak that was as big as a mountain appeared above his head. The flaming mountain peak was emitting white smoke. Slowly the entire flaming mountain peak erupted. Thick lava was rolling. Fire territory. It was more appropriate to describe it as fire lava soil. The entire fire territory was about 1,000 meters in size and about 200 meters in height. The fire territory stood on top of Wang Xian's head. Wang Xian stared at Ling Zilin coldly. Roar! Ling Zilin stared at the fire territory in the sky, and an irritable look appeared on his face. Dong! 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 At this moment, Ling Zilin started to move. Its front hooves stepped on the void and attacked Wang Xian directly. It stepped out quickly and produced a dong-dong sound. Lightning was densely packed under its feet. It was as if the void would shatter every time it stepped on it. Ling Zilin was like purple lightning as it stomped heavily on the world. Wang Xian looked at Ling Zilin, who was charging forward relentlessly. The fire territory above his head trembled. Boom! The mountain-like fire territory smashed directly at Ling Zilin. The moment both parties came into contact, a terrifying energy collision shook the surrounding dozens of kilometers. Boom! 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 At this moment, Ling Zilin stepped into the void. His front hooves landed heavily on the fire territory. The fire territory was like an erupting mountain of flames. Countless lava chunks that were dozens of meters in size shot down. Bang, bang, bang. The lava chunks shot onto Ling Zilin's body and were blocked by his two tusks. A portion of the lava chunks shattered when they landed on his body. Ling Zilin was like a ferocious beast that trampled on the world. His front hooves kept on stomping towards the fire territory. Roar! He roared angrily. The purple lightning on his front hooves doubled in size. His terrifying strength stomped on the fire territory and stomped towards Wuxia rapidly. The lava on the fire territory fell towards the ground, creating a deep pit that was 100 meters wide. What a powerful Dharma idol! Under the stomp of its front hooves, even the two elemental spells were destroyed. Wuxia stared at Ling Zilin, who was attacking him. His two huge dragon claws met it head-on. Roar! Ling Zilin did not show any signs of weakness. Its front hooves stepped on the fire territory and headed towards Wuxia again. Boom! Two attacks of disproportionate size. Wuxia's golden dragon claws collided heavily with Ling Zilin's front hooves. Crack! Crack! In an instant, Wuxia could hear the sound of bones breaking. Roar! Ling Zilin did not feel good either. He destroyed Wuxia's dual-attribute supernatural ability and collided with him with all his strength. Streams of blood flowed out from his front hooves. Wuxia's huge body flew backward and flew 50 meters away. His two dragon claws had become deformed. Hiss! As expected of a ferocious beast at the insightful void level. Its strength is terrifying. However, this is only the beginning. Wuxia revealed a faint smile as his body shimmered with a blue light. Divine ability, Water Spirit. Under the repair of the Water Spirit, Wuxia's dragon claws recovered rapidly. Continue. Wuxia moved his body and swung his 50-meter-long body towards the Spirit Zilin. His abdomen was injured and his front hooves were injured. The Spirit Zilin, who had just cast his Dharma idol, was furious when he saw Wuxia coming at him. He pounced towards Wuxia, and his two fangs emitted bolts of lightning. Every hair on his body stood up like lightning needles. Boom! 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 Wuxia clawed out with his dragon claws. His dragon tail swept across, and his dragon head bit down. After a combination of supernatural powers and dual-attribute combat techniques, it entered the most primitive competition. Wuxia was not afraid of the battle between Ling Zilin and Wuxia. In the sky, the battle between two terrifying giant beasts caused the entire sky to tremble. Wuxia was not afraid of the battle between his physical body. With his huge figure and powerful defense and strength, he was able to completely suppress Ling Zilin. Roar! Roar! After more than 10 minutes of intense battle, the Ling Zilin, who was completely at the bottom, let out a low roar. It was injured all over, and its eyes were filled with fear. Roar! Its body moved, and it fled into the distance. You want to escape? Wuxia's eyes were cold. His body shook, and the area within 2 kilometers was covered by seawater. Water tomb! He let out a soft shout, and the combination skill appeared around him. The combination skill unleashed with the body of the divine dragon is obviously much stronger. Wuxia looked at Ling Zilin, who was instantly entangled, and revealed an excited expression. I'll use you to practice my skills. He moved his body and released another combination skill. He also tried to combine new skills one after another. Roar! Roar! Ling Zilin let out an unyielding roar. His speed was restrained, and he could only turn around to meet Wuxia. Chapter 1182 Crisis Town. Golden Stream. In the sky of the wilderness, Wuxia waved his arm, and a ray of scarlet golden light shot towards Ling Zilin. The ray of light was extremely beautiful, and didn't seem to have any lethality. However, Ling Zilin let out a miserable cry from the side. At this moment, Ling Zilin's entire body was in an extremely miserable state. There wasn't a single part of him that was fine. He could neither escape nor defeat him. Ling Zilin had completely become a tempering stone for Wuxia. A series of combination skills were launched at Ling Zilin. It's about time. Wuxia's eyes flickered as a hint of killing intent appeared in his eyes. Roar! Ling Zilin was floating in the sky in front of him. He stared coldly at Wuxia as he breathed heavily. Even though it was heavily injured, the spirit Zilin still looked extremely ferocious. Oh, that's right. Looking at the spirit Ziling's mighty appearance, Wang Xian suddenly had a thought. He was a little tempted when he thought of the heritage of the 100 Beast City's old man, by Sun as a beast tamer. He stared at the spirit Ziling. A 50-meter-tall figure was circling around it. A powerful dragon's might was pressing down on it. Roar! Roar! The spirit purple Qilin, who was lying in the air, kept roaring. Some of the beast-taming techniques flashed across Wang Xian's mind. A beast tamer wanted to plant a seed in the mind of a ferocious beast. This seed was not like Wang Xian's blood essence, which allowed him to have 100% control over it. He wanted to plant the seed of, "I am your king." When the seed entered the mind of the ferocious beast, it would be like a group of people. This beast would instinctively think that you are my king, and I have to obey your orders. This needed to be suppressed using the method of bloodline. The 100 Patrol Elders Beast Tamer had learned from the beasts controlling the beast group. If you wanted to subdue a beast, you had to have a powerful bloodline and use it to suppress the other party's bloodline. If the other party's bloodline was stronger than his, it was basically impossible to subdue him. Beast tamers were different from those warriors who had mounts and pets. Those warriors who had mounts and pets were the ones who had cultivated their feelings from the time when their mounts and pets were young, so that they could subdue them. Beast tamers were completely suppressing them. Wang Xian circled around the spirit purple Qilin and looked down at him with his head held high. The aura that was originally filled with killing intent slowly became amiable. A kind of gentle and lofty aura rushed into its mind. Wang Xian waved his dragon claw, and a wisp of blood flew toward the spirit Ziling beast. It slowly floated above its head. Roar! The spirit Ziling sensed the aura coming from Wang Xian. It let out a low roar and stared at him vigilantly. Wang Xian didn't make a move. According to the techniques inherited by the beast tamer, he subjugated the spirit Ziling beast bit by bit. As a divine dragon, it was easier for Wang Xian to tame ferocious beasts and demonic beasts than it was for the 100 Patrol Elders. As a member of the Divine Dragon clan, he possessed a top-notch bloodline. Any ferocious beast could feel the aura of a king from his bloodline. Awa! Wang Xian stared coldly at Ling Ziling. The terrifying aura kept attacking it. Ling Ziling let out 2 low growls and slowly lay down in the air. After more than 10 minutes, it raised its head and looked at Wang Xian in awe. Finally, its gaze landed on the drop of blood. Awa! In the end, Ling Ziling lowered its head towards Wang Xian to show its submission. I've succeeded. It's much easier than I thought. Wang Xian revealed a delighted expression. It must be because I gave it a good beating and almost killed it. Wang Xian thought to himself. If he wanted to tame a wild beast, he had to first subdue it with his strength, and then suppress it with his soul. Subjugating a void interpretation level beast made Wang Xian feel great. Ling Ziling's strength was still very strong. Even among the first level of the void interpretation level, it was still very strong. After subjugating it, it would be a very powerful combat strength. Don't move. I'll test the power of that dual attribute healing ability. Wang Xian stared at Ling Ziling. His body moved and a blue-green light appeared in front of him. The light slowly condensed into a liquid state and covered an area of about 2,000 meters. Wang Xian had a thought. The blue-green liquid slowly shrank and finally fell towards Ling Ziling. Awa! The blue-green liquid fell into Ling Ziling's body, causing his injuries to heal at a terrifying speed. In less than 10 seconds, almost all the injuries on Ling Ziling's body were healed. Let's take a break. Wang Xian moved his body and returned to his human form. He came to Ling Ziling's side. Awa! Ling Ziling lowered his head towards Wang Xian and was extremely respectful. Wang Xian revealed a faint smile on his face. In the future, Ling Ziling would be his loyal subordinate. As long as it didn't encounter any special circumstances, it wouldn't dare to disobey Wang Xian's orders. Get down! Wang Xian moved his body and rode directly on Ling Ziling's body. A 4-meter-long mount was just right for him to ride on. After patting Ling Ziling's body, it landed on the ground and started to recover. Wang Xian was also sitting cross-legged at the side to recover the energy he had consumed, and to sort out the combat techniques with various combinations of attributes. The combination of the two attributes is indeed very powerful. However, the downside is that it is too obvious. Others will be able to tell how many attributes you have used. It will cause a huge sensation, and even bring danger. Wang Xian thought to himself. It would be fine if he had two attributes. If others saw it, they would only think that he was a peerless heaven's favorite. However, if he displayed 5 attributes, it would arouse other suspicions. I remember there is an item in the system's Dragon Palace's treasure trove. It can hide some of my attributes and even deceive me. Wang Xian thought to himself. With a thought, he checked the system store. Found it. Heaven Deceiving Pearl. It can change the aura fluctuation of the attacks I release. Wang Xian revealed a faint smile. With this Heaven Deceiving Pearl, he could use all kinds of combinations of combat skills without restraint. 10,000 dragon crystals. The price is really not cheap. Wang Xian looked at the exchange price and directly exchanged it. A colorful pearl appeared in his hand. The pearl was the size of a fist. Wang Xian opened his mouth and swallowed it. Phew! He casually released a flame. Under the heaven-deceiving bead, he saw a water sword. This heaven-deceiving bead also has a surprise attack effect. It's pretty good. Wang Xian thought to himself as he sat cross-legged to recover his energy. 2 hours later, Wang Xian stood up. Ling Zilin, who was lying on the ground, also stood up. Standing next to the first-level void interpretation beast, Wang Xian exuded a strong aura. Let's go to the front. Wang Xian sat on Ling Zilin and patted its head before flying forward. Roar! Ling Zilin let out a roar and flew straight into the sky. Its mighty body exuded a strong aura. Chapter 1183. The Demeanor of a Strong Person. Riding on the spirit purple unicorn, which was at the first level of the insightful void tier. Those beasts and birds, which had yet to reach the insightful void tier, could feel the aura of the spirit purple unicorn, and immediately left far away. Even beasts at the insightful void tier would usually avoid the spirit purple unicorn as soon as they felt the presence of beings of the same level. The speed of the spirit purple unicorn was not slower than Wang Xian's at all. However, after flying for about half a day, it needed to rest for a while. Sitting on the spirit purple unicorn, Wang Xian only needed to inform it of one direction. He basically did not need to care about the rest. Therefore, Wang Xian spent most of his time sitting on the spirit purple unicorn. His mind was constantly thinking about the combination of attributes, especially the combination of 3 attributes. Once Wang Xian understood the attack of the star explosion, even in his human form, he would still be able to fight against an expert at the insightful void tier. Another day or so, I should be there soon. However, I only have a vague map. I still need to look for the human demon graveyard on my own. After flying for 6 days, Wang Xian opened his eyes and looked down. The map that Feng Yuan gave him was not very detailed. Moreover, this was Wang Xian's first time here. In this wildlife world, the usefulness of the map was greatly reduced. All he could do was to find the location of the tomb of the demi-human. The tomb of the demi-human is located in the ocean and the forest. He muttered as he looked at the map. He patted the spirit purple Qilin and said, "Go in this direction. See if I can find a city and ask for directions." He thought to himself as he looked at the location below. In this wild and desolate world like the Transcendence continent, one might not even be able to meet a human city, even after traveling for tens of thousands of kilometers. Compared to the number of humans, the number of ferocious beasts was at least 10,000 times that of humans. After traveling for over 10,000 kilometers along the coast, Wang Xian suddenly saw a city in front of him. The city was not very big. It looked like a town. However, this town was a little troublesome at the moment. At the entrance of the town, there were at least hundreds of thousands of ferocious beasts attacking the town. The formation of the town had been broken, and even the city gate was on the verge of collapse. If there weren't a few experts at the city gate, these ferocious beasts would have already charged in. And behind the ferocious beasts, a demonic beast was fighting with a middle-aged man. The terrifying battle had affected an area of 4,000 to 5,000 meters. This demonic beast. Wuxia looked over and narrowed his eyes slightly. This was a very familiar demonic beast. It was a blood barbarian demonic beast. It was a type of demonic beast that thirsted for blood like its life. I can't hold on any longer. Wuxia looked over and thought to himself. Damn it. I can't believe I encountered such a thing at the last moment. Brother, let's leave this place. On the city wall, a 15 to 16-year-old girl looked at the group of ferocious beasts in front of her, with a face full of anger. Her small face was flushed red as she pouted at a young man beside her. If we give up, the second prince's test will fail, and he will be one step behind the other princes. I'm afraid. An old man beside her said with a bad expression. He looked at the battlefield in front of him and sighed. Blood savage beast. I didn't expect that a group of beasts like the blood savage beast would suddenly appear. Prince, there's nothing we can do. Let's retreat. In the middle of the young girl and the old man, a young man stood there with his hands tightly gripping the treasured sword. His eyes flickered. He looked at the few guards and generals beside him, and looked at him with hope. Behind him, the citizens of the entire town crossed their arms and prayed. I can leave safely, but the people behind me, can they leave safely? The young man exhaled and asked with a resolute gaze. They. The old man looked at the ferocious beast army in front of him, then at the people behind him before looking at the young man. His eyes flickered. Although it's a pity to abandon this place, there's nothing we can do about it. In order to recover our losses, the prince rescued some experts from Wind Salt City. They will be grateful for the prince's life-saving grace, and they will have a group of loyal followers. Perhaps in the end this won't be a bad thing. The young man turned his head and stared at him coldly. There was not a hint of emotion in his eyes. The old man pretended not to see it and lowered his head directly. He said respectfully, Second Prince, those who achieve great things do not care about small things. If you want to walk on the path of the king, you must know how to make choices. Even if you fail the test this time, the king will not blame your highness when he finds out. At this time, following this old minister's method is the most advantageous. The young man's eyes were filled with helplessness. Lord Mayor, we can't hold on any longer. You should retreat. Mayor, let all the citizens escape. The rest will depend on fate. At this moment, the anxious voices of the city guards came from the surroundings. He looked over and clenched his fists tightly. The young man looked forward and pursed his lips. He slowly pulled out the long sword in his hand and raised it up. He roared loudly. The situation is critical. A large group of ferocious beasts is not something we can defend against. All the citizens in the town, escape from the west gate immediately. The rest will depend on your luck. In the end, is there anyone who is willing to fight with me to defend against the ferocious beasts below? Give our families more time. Is there anyone who is willing to fight with me? The young man roared loudly. He turned his head and looked at everyone in the town. We are willing to fight with the mayor. I am also willing to let the rest of the citizens escape first. We will defend and buy them more time. Lord Mayor of the small town Woo. The young man stood on the city wall. His actions and words shocked everyone around him. Yes, Mayor. Immediately after, dozens of guards responded loudly as they looked at their young mayor with tears in their eyes. When the people below heard the young man's words, their hearts moved slightly, and the eyes of some elderly women turned slightly red. Don't waste your breath. All the people of Wind Salt Town, immediately flee this place. Those who are willing to fight with me charge. The young man's gaze was resolute as he roared loudly. His body moved, and he directly flew out. He waved the long sword in his hand, and a bright sword chi directly swept forward. Over 1,000 vicious beasts were instantly killed. The strength of a half-step void interpretation expert was revealed. Charge. Follow the mayor in charge. The rest of you, escape from the west gate. Kill. The mayor has already charged down. What are we still standing here for? We have to buy more time for our family." Furious roars sounded one after another, and a group of martial artists followed closely behind. The young girl on the city wall was stunned as she looked at her elder brother with some admiration and anxiety. "Sigh!" The old man beside shook his head helplessly and lightly shouted towards the front. "You must protect the young master well." Below, the several thousand people who were fighting with the fierce beasts saw the mayor come down, and their eyes revealed a trace of surprise. "Fight!" They roared loudly as they stared coldly at the fierce beasts in front of them. They raised their tired arms and welcomed him. A line of 3,000 or 4,000 people formed a human wall defense. Chapter 1184. Under the demeanor of a strong man. There is no lack of heroes in any place. Wuxia rode on the spirit purple Qilin and rushed over. When he saw the thousands of people below the city wall forming a human defense, he was slightly touched. In this world where humans fought with ferocious beasts and demonic beasts, many heroes were born. Their strength might not be very strong, but their actions were the most worthy of respect. This is much better than those guys from Starmoon Kingdom, Wuxia thought to himself. He patted the head of the spirit purple Qilin and rushed towards the battlefield. "Prince, we won't be able to hold on for long. Please evacuate quickly. You must not get into any trouble." Below the city wall, 3 to 4 extraordinary 9th level, or even half-step void interpretation experts were following the young man. They were afraid that he would be in danger, so they spoke anxiously. "Don't worry, I'll be fine. You guys go there and defend. Leave this place to me." The young man's face was ice cold as he said coldly to the 3 people beside him. The long sword in his hand waved non-stop. The expressions of the people beside him were especially ugly, but they did not dare to be distracted. There were at least 200,000 ferocious beasts in front of them. Among them, there were quite a number of transcendent level 9 and half-step void interpretation experts. Hiss, hiss, hiss. Suddenly, the sound of beasts came from the back, and everyone froze. Boom, boom, boom. A rain of blood suddenly attacked them. The dense rain of blood instantly covered the front of the city gate, like a storm falling from the sky. The rain of blood not only covered them, but also the beasts in front of them. "Not good, it's the attack from the blood-savage beasts behind us. Defend." On the city wall, the old man looked embarrassed when he saw the blood rain that filled the sky. He waved the scepter in his hand and covered the girl beside him. Roar! 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 Below them, the beasts were the first to be attacked by the blood rain. They let out miserable screams and fell to the ground. The thousands of people below the city wall had a drastic change in expression. Their eyes were filled with embarrassment, and some of them were even filled with despair. They hurriedly released their strongest defense to block the blood rain's attack. Aha! However, the blood rain was the combined attack of 20 to 30 rank 9 transcendents, and half-step void interpretation level blood savage beasts behind them. The power of the attack was something that those below rank 7 transcendents could not withstand. The blood rain penetrated through their defenses and landed on their bodies. Like corrosive sulfuric acid, it entered their bodies and corroded their flesh and blood. Oh no! The young man standing in the middle had a drastic change in expression. His eyes revealed an extremely embarrassed expression. His arms trembled and he felt weak. "Prince, we can't resist anymore." The 4 experts came to their side and roared with determination in their eyes. The young man looked at his surroundings. More than half of the guards had been struck by the blood rain. They cried out in pain and his lips trembled. Buzz! However, at this moment, they felt as though the sky had trembled slightly. A cool and life force was transmitted from the sky. The young man was slightly startled. The surrounding people were also slightly startled. Their faces were filled with shock as they looked towards the sky. This is... Everyone looked over and saw a blue-green fog suddenly appearing above them. The fog slowly condensed into a liquid that dripped towards them. What is this? How did the injuries on my body recover directly? Moreover, even my spiritual chi has recovered a lot. A middle-aged man whose head had been hit by the blood rain shouted in shock, as a trace of disbelief appeared in his eyes. The young man looked at the liquid that dripped onto his body, and his eyes revealed a look of surprise. He quickly looked towards the left side of the sky. A ferocious beast, and a young man appeared in his line of sight. It's still in time. Wang Xian looked down, and revealed a faint smile on his face. The water wood healing ability was a very powerful recovery type ability. Even if Ling Zilin was severely injured, it could be healed instantly. The group of martial artists below, who had yet to reach the insightful void tier, could be healed easily. Humans who are courting death die. At this moment, among the group of ferocious beasts, more than 20 blood barbarian demonic beasts saw Wang Xian in the sky. Their eyes revealed a cold killing intent. 2 half-step insightful void tier blood barbarian demonic beasts turned into a blood shadow and charged directly at Wang Xian. Courting death. Wang Xian saw the demonic beasts charging towards him. He waved his arm, and a golden stream of light shot towards the 2 demonic beasts. Awa! The golden light landed on the bodies of the 2 demonic beasts, causing them to scream in pain. Their corpses fell towards the ground. Zilin, I'll leave it to you. He patted Ling Zilin's head and jumped down to hover in the sky. Roar! Ling Zilin received Wang Xian's order and let out a roar. The aura of an insightful emptiness realm expert was emitted directly. Crackle! The terrifying aura and Ling Zilin, who had formed a purple lightning domain, stepped on the air with all 4 limbs. They let out sounds that sounded like the galloping of tens of thousands of horses. Boom! An insightful emptiness realm ferocious beast. That is an insightful emptiness realm ferocious beast. Below the city wall. Everyone below the city wall was slightly shocked, their faces revealing a shocked expression. Why did a profound void tier dire beast suddenly appear? The appearance of the spirit purple Qilin caused the bodies of all the dire beasts below to tremble, and they looked anxiously at the spirit purple Qilin in the sky. Some of the weaker dire beasts were even directly lying on the ground. Crackle crackle. Roar! The spirit purple Qilin raised its head and roared towards the sky, causing a purple cloud to condense in the sky. Following its roar, a purple lightning bolt that was 7 to 8 meters thick and over 1,000 meters long struck downwards. Roar roar roar. Roar roar roar. In an instant, the hundreds of thousands of beasts below revealed terrified expressions under the spirit purple Qilin's attack. Roar! Ling Zilin let out another roar, and another terrifying bolt of lightning struck downwards. The terrifying lightning struck down and easily killed a large number of them. With just 2 lightning strikes, at least tens of thousands of ferocious beasts had died under the attack of Ling Zilin. Meddlesome humans, retreat! A shrill voice came from the rear. On the battlefield, all the blood barbarian demonic beasts heard the order and quickly fled to the rear. All the beasts also fled in a panic. Wang Xian saw the retreating blood savage beasts and the scattered beasts floating in the sky with a smile on his face. It was obvious that Ling Zilin was not satisfied with killing them. He moved his body and directly dashed towards the group of beasts below. The dense lightning bolts took the lives of the beasts. They opened their huge mouths and directly swallowed a level 9 extraordinary beast. Everyone in Wind Salt Town was stunned by the sudden change. They raised their heads to look at the void interpretation level ferocious beast that was slaughtering all over the place, and then looked at the young man floating in the sky. Everyone's eyes were filled with respect. Chapter 1185, Befriended him. Hiss, is that an expert at the void interpretation level? He actually has a mount at the void interpretation level. Furthermore, he should be the one who released the healing ability just now. What a powerful strength. He killed 2 half-step void interpretation level blood barbaric demonic beasts instantly when he attacked just now. He should be in existence at the void interpretation level. That's great. A top-notch expert actually passed by. Haha, our home is saved. At the position of the city wall of Wind Salt Town, everyone's eyes were filled with excitement when they saw Wang Xian, who had suddenly appeared. No matter what, They had never expected that such a terrifying expert would suddenly appear when they were in despair and save all of them. Their eyes were filled with respect as they looked at Wang Xian, who was floating in the sky. My luck is really good. The young man looked at Wang Xian with a hint of excitement in his eyes. Looking at Wang Xian's figure, he was a little hesitant. Thank you, brother, for your help. At this moment, the white-robed middle-aged man, who was fighting against the void interpretation level blood barbarian demonic beast, swept his gaze across the battlefield. When he saw the spirit purple Qilin, who was crazily devouring the demonic beast, his pupils contracted slightly as he flew towards Wang Xian. He cupped his hands respectfully. You're welcome. Wang Xian shook his head and said plainly, it was a coincidence. I saw everyone fighting with their lives on the line, and decided to lend a helping hand. Thank you for your help, senior. At this moment, the young man below flew towards the sky, and looked at Wang Xian curiously. He bowed and thanked him. At the city wall, the old man and the young girl were also flying over with excited faces. The two of them looked at Wang Xian, and thanked him as well. I'm not a senior. Wang Xian smiled and shook his head. This brother, you haven't reached the insightful void stage yet? The middle-aged man in white was slightly taken aback. He looked at Wang Xian with a surprised expression, and sized him up from head to toe. Wang Xian smiled and nodded his head. The middle-aged man in white was slightly taken aback. His eyes were filled with astonishment. Even the young man at the side had a look of shock on his face. To have a void interpretation level mount, before breaking through to the void interpretation stage. To be able to instantly kill 2 half-step void interpretation bloody savage beasts, before reaching the void interpretation stage. This, even the top 10 heavens favorites in the Luhai region, might not be able to do it. Especially the healing divine ability that Wang Xian displayed just now. It was simply heaven-defying. The young man and the white-robed middle-aged man looked at each other, and saw the shock in each other's eyes. I am Long Xiaotian, the second prince of the Radiant Dragon Dynasty. Thank you for saving my life, brother. May I know how I should address you? Long Xiaotian looked at Wang Xian and cupped his hands enthusiastically once again. Wang Xian. Wang Xian looked at the young man, and was slightly surprised. He had never heard of the Radiant Dragon Dynasty. However, there were records of the Radiant Dragon Dynasty on the map. The Radiant Dragon Dynasty occupied a rather large area. It was a very powerful dynasty. I wonder where Brother Wang Xian is going. If you are not in a hurry, you can rest in my Windsalt town. We would like to thank Brother Wang Xian for saving our lives. Long Xiaotian asked Wang Xian. I am preparing to head to the cemetery of the human and demon. This is my first time here. I don't know the exact location of the cemetery of the human and demon. I wonder if Brother Long Xiaotian knows the direction of the cemetery of the human and demon. Wang Xian asked with a smile. Cemetery of humans and demons. Long Xiaotian was slightly stunned before a look of pleasant surprise appeared in his eyes. Brother Wang Xian, you're going to the cemetery of humans and demons? The cemetery of humans and demons isn't too far away from here. I'm also going to the cemetery of humans and demons for training in a few days. Brother Wang Xian, why don't you wait for 2 days and we'll head there together? When Wang Xian heard his words, a hint of hesitation appeared on his face. Brother Wang Xian, you are not familiar with the place in the tomb of the demi-human. I know it very well. Furthermore, there are people from the royal family there. It will be more convenient for you if we go together. Long Xiaotian saw that Wang Xian was moved and said hurriedly, that's good. Wang Xian pondered for a moment and nodded slowly. Sorry to disturb you then. No. I, Long Xiaotian, would like to thank Brother Wang Xian for your help this time. Long Xiaotian said happily. Wang Xian nodded his head with a smile. Roar. At this moment, the low roar of the spirit purple unicorn could be heard. It grinned and flew towards Wang Xian with a smile. Clean up the blood in your mouth. Wang Xian looked at the blood in its mouth and said to it. Roar. Ling Zilin responded. With a jolt of the lightning in its mouth, the blood and minced meat disappeared. Long Xiaotian, and the rest were shocked when they saw Ling Zilin being so obedient. Brother Wang Xian, your pet is so strong and obedient. Long Xiaotian looked at Ling Zilin's ferocious beast with envy. He, a prince of the Radiant Dragon dynasty, was not qualified to have a pet of the insightful void tier. I'm a beast tamer. Wang Xian smiled faintly. Beast tamer? Wang Xian's words shocked Long Xiaotian, and the rest once again. An inexplicable look appeared in their eyes. Brother Wang Xian, let's talk in the town. Long Xiaotian did not ask further. He suppressed the curiosity in his heart and invited Wang Xian. All right. Wang Xian nodded. He dared to fly into the town beside Long Xiaotian and the rest. Brother Wang Xian, please. Below. Everyone in Wind Salt Town looked at Wang Xian with gratitude. Then, they looked at the spiritual purple Qilin, who was flying in the air behind him. Their eyes were filled with respect. Long Xiaotian instructed the elder beside him about some matters in the town, and led Wang Xian into the mayor's residence. Brother Wang Xian, please take a seat. When they arrived at the mayor's residence, Long Xiaotian gestured to Wang Xian. Following that, he took out a jade bottle from his interspatial ring and said, Brother Wang Xian, you have saved the entire Windy Salt City. I, Long Xiaotian, am truly unable to repay you. Please accept this small gift, brother. Wang Xian saw the jade bottle that he handed over. There were 3 pills in the jade bottle. Each of the pills that were half-step void interpretation could extract more than 200,000 dragon crystals. After hesitating for a moment, he took it over with a smile. Then we are even. Wang Xian smiled faintly. Haha, Wang Xian saved our entire Wind Salt Town. How can a few pills be enough to make us even? Long Xiaotian smiled happily. It's already late. Wang Xian didn't have a good meal even after traveling for such a long time, right? I'll get someone to prepare some of the special delicacies of Wind Salt Town. Let's have a good drink. That would be troublesome. Wang Xian nodded with a smile. It was already late at night. Long Xiaotian had prepared a table full of dishes for them. Apart from them, there was also a white-robed middle-aged man, who was a powerhouse at the first level of the insightful emptiness realm, and a young girl. From their conversation, Wang Xian learned that he was the second prince of the Guanglong dynasty. Being the mayor of Wind and Salt Town was purely a test for the princes. The most outstanding prince would become the crown prince, and have the right to inherit the throne. The next test would be at the tomb of the transvestite. You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.